International Symphony.
Hi, hello, and welcome to Bottom of the Barrel Morning Show. This is your host, as always, Hamza Chaudhry, coming to you live from the Radio Free Brooklyn studio here in the heart of Bushwick, Brooklyn. We are joined with my one and only co-host, the wonderful Grant Moore, today.
Wow. So good to be here.
As always. And we have a special guest in studio today, Davidson Boswell.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Comedian extraordinaire. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. This weather sucks, but other than that, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was over.
Yeah.
I thought it was over. And, you know, it's so true. It happens every year. Mm-hmm. And it gets me every year.
Right.
There's a day where I'm like, oh, spring is sprung.
Right.
We're in, boys. It's time to be outside all day, all night.
Yeah.
And then you get shit on for 2 months straight.
Grab the Prozac, because it's going to be a long one.
Because we're going right back in.
Right. Yeah, get your ass back inside.
But I'm doing okay. Today's Mother's Day, which is nice.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the MILFs. Hi, Barb.
Shout out MILFs only.
Shout out MILFs only, and I only see MILFs. You know what I'm saying? There's
As
only
far as the
MILFs.
eye can see. Yeah.
Exactly.
Did you guys do something sweet for your mothers?
I'm doing a radio show.
Oh, nice.
She's going to get
Shouting her out on
to hear me.
She's going to be like, he did it. He made it.
Yeah.
He got on free public radio.
He's on a communist radio station in Brooklyn.
They gave me a bottle of water, Mom. I've made it.
That was his entire right.
You will be charged for that, by the way.
Oh,
It's
shit.
not
All right.
We don't just hand out bottles of water.
Okay, I'm
just
going to
says-
charge my mom on Venmo.
It's this bottle of water chilled.
Right.
He's made it.
Mm-hmm.
It does feel more official when you get the bottle of water, though.
That's so
Right.
true.
It's a big upgrade for
Dude.
us.
Yeah. And this
Bottle
is-
of water. We usually get coffee. I was all over the place today.
I offered. He said no.
He said no.
Yeah.
He didn't want to dookie his shorts.
A lot of people say no and then bring coffee, and I'm
Yeah.
like, you don't trust me, or you just.
They already got coffee.
You don't want to be like unbelievably keyed up and or shit your pants the first time you go on radio with a new person.
Wrong. So wrong. This is why you don't have a radio
I
show.
know. Damn. What am I doing,
Dude,
man?
that should be the theme of the radio show. Is everybody chugs a bunch of, like, the night before eats the biggest meal,
Yeah.
chugs a bunch of coffee, and then we do 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah. Like just sausage all night. And then the next day, we each get a full pot of coffee.
Yeah.
And we see who can go first. Yeah.
So you can last the longest. Dude, this is a 2-hour radio show, and there are often times where I like cut off the air, and then you see me jog down the hall.
Right. You like your voice goes up an octave. You're like, anyway.
Yeah.
You'll see it. You'll
People
see it.
wonder why we get quiet in the last half hour. It's because we're trying not to piss in these chairs.
Yeah.
They're already uncomfortable
These are not very
enough.
absorbent either. This
No.
would be a mess.
That's why we have the rug.
Perfect.
We've learned from a lot of mistakes.
There's kitty litter in the
You're going
corner.
on Amazon reviews like, how absorbent is
This is a Huggies inspired.
Right, yeah.
How many times can I piss on a rug before it must be replaced?
Yeah.
Turns out one.
Yeah.
Yeah, turns out only
I'm
one
very
time.
dehydrated. Yeah.
Good.
I like how we went from Mother's Day immediately to talking about pissing and shitting.
Right. We were like, all right, let's get rid of the female audience right off the bat. You know?
Which,
Yes, and we had a female audience.
yeah,
I would just like it to be known for a brief moment. There were women listening to this.
Okay, yeah.
yeah, Grant's mom tunes in.
Yeah, I'm just going to start referring to the audience as a whole as Barb.
Yeah.
Right.
As my
Oh,
mom.
that's so funny.
Yeah.
Shout out to my mom.
Shout out to Barb's, all the Barbs in the building.
Barb's is number one fan.
Yeah. So you especially don't like this weather because you are a tour guide.
Yes, exactly.
And
Yeah.
you are a tour guide at the 9/11 Memorial.
Exactly. It's a pretty
Wow.
wild way to make a living.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day because it's tourist season, and when 9/11 happened, cha-ching, dude. The tourism season, like, it is such a moneymaker for people in New York now. It's like the number one thing people want to visit. And when that second tower was struck, you just know some Machiavellian capitalist was like, yo, give
the
this
one
20
who
years.
planned it.
right. Yeah, exactly.
The same guy who planned it
Yeah,
was
the
like,
same guy
get
who
the
planned it. It's
museum
like,
rights.
this is going to have a long tail to it, man.
Yeah.
This is going to be,
What is the emotional toll of every single day that you work talking about 9/11?
It's not every single day, but you find yourself like slipping in and out of passion. You know what I mean? Like you need to be like on your game. You can't be like, and as everyone knows, so you can't let your tone slip at all because this is everybody's first time there, you know, and it is an amazing memorial and there's a lot of really interesting stuff involved.
Yeah.
But it's wild. Like everything is inherently political. Like if somebody's like, why did 9/11 happen? You're like, I don't know. Why do you think 9/11?
Definitely don't read this letter from Osama bin Laden.
right. Oops, I dropped this letter.
I dropped my TikTok.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I don't just do that. I give other tours as well. I give tours of museums and I switch it up.
But
nice. If I do it like 3 days in a row,
do you ever go from like 9/11 to like the Museum of Ice Cream?
Yeah, I'm like mint chocolate chip, steel beams. Oh fuck, yeah.
Something's melting. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Is it me or is it hot in here? Yeah. I know I don't. It's never that strong a whiplash, but I will say you go from like people that are like ultra conservative, very like America first, to like Europeans who like kind of like don't even understand what happened because they're like 20 years old. So you have to like calibrate all the time and like figure out what people are going to want to hear about it. And, I have my own beliefs, but who gives a fuck about that? So you can just stick with the facts. You know what I mean? That's, but it's tough to like do it every day, I will say, but it's a cool job. And, like I said, it's so weird that it's a job.
It is one of the best museums I've ever been to.
Totally.
At least as an American. Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
Like, holy smokes. I've never felt more sad.
Right. Yeah, they do a great job. Like
making you sad.
Right. They do a great job making you sad.
Which you should be.
Right, exactly.
You should be sad.
And they have like if you haven't, have you been?
Yeah.
The like beam.
I go every weekend.
They have the you go for brunch.
Right. Little surf and turf. Yeah.
I go to get the like LGBTQ flag 9/11 thing that you put on the like the, what are they called? Magnets. It's so funny to me. They have an LGBTQ like infused magnet.
Yes,
at the gift
my
shop.
God.
It's like,
that's
awesome.
What
is
is
the
happening?
gift shop?
Right.
Is the like cafe themed? I hope not. They're not like this is a
the ambiance music is bad. You know that room
Sarah
where it's just like
McLachlan,
all the fucking
phone calls.
Dude,
that's the one that I was just like, Jesus Christ. Because I went and then I remember that room. I was so sad. And then the next room is like the Al Qaeda room. And I was like, I'm gonna briskly walk through this one. I'm trying to hang around here.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Are you like contracted from the museum, or is it an independent company?
It's an independent company. I'm not going to bring their name up, you know what I mean? But it's and I actually very rarely go into the museum because it's crazy to go into the museum and like loudly yell about 9/11. You know, like they don't know, they don't want you to have like microphones and shit on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you're
So it feels
literally
like an
describing.
airplane?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're like if you look to your left, you'll see.
You'll see Tower 7.
Yeah, you'll see
we don't
Tower
need to get
7.
into why that went.
Yeah, exactly. No one knows. It's kind of like why my breakup happened. No, but I feel like they have a good enough job in the museum, so I just drop them off. Like I give them kind of like a Whitman sampler of facts, and then they go to the museum by themselves and it's actually the same with a lot of museums in New York where there's like art and stuff like that, because it's like, well, just read what it says next to the painting. You know what I mean? It's going to describe it way better than I can, Yeah,
but sometimes the guides have like they really know their shit. Sometimes they're full of it.
That's true.
But I went to the Academy in Italy, and the guy like talked about Michelangelo the entire time and like gave his whole backstory. Way more interesting to me.
That is cool, and like when you see it through what they deem is important, you know what I mean? You get like a fresh perspective on it. So like what you choose to emphasize, what you choose to de-emphasize is gonna be like, and also, man, New York is so overwhelming. Like you have to think about it, like people are having sensory overload the entire time. Yeah. So you're basically like a grounding presence for them. You're like, all right, yo, just focus on me, because there's people from all over the world. Obviously the 9/11 memorial attracts a lot of like conspiracy theorists and homeless people that are like screaming and shit like that. So you're just like, yo, eyes here, focus on me. Okay, ignore that guy.
Ignore the man who might be touching himself.
Right, don't masturbating in front of the firehouse.
Yeah, jerking off in front of the white roses.
Right.
Sometimes I just
why do you think they're white?
I cry every time I see those.
Yeah, it's really powerful.
I cry I mean, I know what it is.
Yeah. You'll still see like people come and like, leave like their favorite candy, the person who died's favorite candy, like on their birthday and stuff. It affects you, man. And I think like humor is a good defense mechanism sometimes. You're like sarcastic about things because it's actually really, really impactful. Yeah. But you're like, if you're like flippant about it, somehow that kind of gets you through it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not like that on the tour, but I'm like that with you guys. You know?
That's probably good.
9/11 was fucked up. I don't know if you guys know that.
And we agree. You can stamp Radio Free Brooklyn with that opinion.
I would like to say,
dude.
So the 9/11 memorial is actually based off of, or what I've understood is like they took inspiration from the Oklahoma City bombing memorial.
Yeah, they did.
So I'm from Oklahoma originally, and it's one of the saddest things. But the one thing that they talk a lot about is like using empty space to make you feel like solemn. So like where the two towers were, they like built those big bathtubs or whatever they are, like the fountains.
Thank you for using the technical terminology.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. They go down 5 stories, which those were the depths of the parking garages underneath the Twin Towers.
Look at that.
Yeah. So
that's
I can give you guys a tour
guide fun fact.
I would love that.
Yeah, it is super interesting, and it's nice to give like private tours because you can just be like, yo, what are you interested in? And I'll just tell you about it, you know?
So what is, sorry.
Go ahead. No.
You're right. Good choice.
That's good teamwork, guys. I see why you're co-hosts.
So what was like the requirement to do this? Like, did you have to read the Looming Tower?
Dude, I did read the Looming Tower. They want you to like, they basically, it's sink or swim. So they have a person tail you, you know, to like see what you emphasize and stuff. And they're really putting their reputation on the line because you kind of just like, all right. They give you kind of like the highlights or like know about these things, you know?
Yeah.
And these are the like frequently asked questions you're going to get. One of which is like, yo, are you still allowed to fly over New York City airspace? Because it's really crazy to like look up into the sky and see a plane over you as you're like.
Are you?
Yeah, you are. As long as it's
a
commercial. Yeah. And it's just unsettling, you know, to see a 737 up there, especially because they're falling out of the sky now. But that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. Oh my God, don't get me fucking started on that. What? Can we stick to something light like 9/11, please?
Right. But just to answer or finish that question, I think like they just want to see if you can, 1, know your shit, and 2, strike the right tone, you know, because that's, and I got my tour guiding license February of 2020. Which was fucking horrible timing, you know? So you have to be licensed in New York, too, and which I don't think is the case in any other city.
But it's just a general license.
I know. It's just a general license of, like, whatever the guy decided a long time ago was worth knowing, you know? And it's very much focused on, like, Broadway, you know, like the major buildings, the Empire State Building, shit like that. But it's a cool way to earn money, and it fits well with being a comedian. You know?
And it's such a, if you're, like, interested in the city, it's such a good way to, like, learn and cement your knowledge about any particular topic, just repeat it over and over again.
Right. And
questions.
Then every time somebody asks you a new question and you don't know it, you kind of like dance around it a little bit and then you go home and like research it so you know it the next time.
Get stronger.
Yeah, exactly.
Does it ever exhaust your social battery and you're just like, Jesus, I don't want to go anywhere?
All the time, bro. Yeah. I especially if people have like really obvious questions, you know what I mean? Like, how do I get to the Wall Street Bull, you know, after you've already talked to them for like 5 hours and there's like signs on the street that are like, look at that and walk that way.
Use Google Maps.
I know. That's the other thing. It's like, do you know where a Starbucks is? I'm like, dude, you would just like fall on your ass and look and you'll see one. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
they're colonizing the territory.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That is one thing is people love to get old school directions.
I know. And I'm like, dude... Step 1, take out your phone. Step 2, type it into your phone. Yeah, you know, like those.
But if I asked someone directions and they said that to me, I would shoot them in the face.
I know, and then
it's like I'm gonna do that.
Totally,
but if it's done to me, what the fuck is wrong with you? Just be a person.
And you're fighting against. You guys are both from the Midwest, and people are just naturally more friendly there. And I think that extends both ways. So Midwesterners are like, "Oh, this is just a harmless question I'm asking." You know, he probably hasn't had this question asked to him 10,000 times before,
right?
And you're always fighting against that perception that like New Yorkers are, you know, arrogant douchebags that don't have time for you. So it does exhaust my social battery, but you know, you can just go home and watch a conspiracy theory YouTube or something, you know what I mean? Or
just
recharge.
To settle down.
Right, exactly.
Get the juices flowing.
Right,
again.
exactly. Yeah.
Ground me.
Well, how often are you, because like now that you're on your own, you probably don't have these people trailing you, like listening to what you're saying anymore from the company. Like,
right, yeah.
Can you get a little fun with your answers?
Totally.
Like when people start asking, because I have some questions.
Yeah.
And do you get to talk about it?
Yeah, sometimes like something that I always talk about is when they ask like about the actual way it happened, the actual way the planes hit the buildings. I'm like, if you think about it from a technical perspective, that is unbelievable that they were able to pilot a plane like dead on into the buildings. You know what I mean? Like, is this too spicy for this show?
No.
Okay,
Oh my God.
All right.
Trust me.
But that is like, but I like talking about it because I'm like, yo, these guys were amazing pilots. You know what I mean? Like, and
trained in America,
right? Yeah.
In America.
Went to Florida, baby. Oh, in Oklahoma too. Okay, yeah. Learn from the best. No. But yeah, it's that, and it's usually young people that are way more, they have less of an emotional connection to it because so they're just like interested about the actual thing of it. So I really like talking about the looming tower, like these guys' backgrounds. You know how like all the hijackers went out to like a strip club the day before it, and like got prostitutes and stuff. It's like
go out on a bang.
Yeah, literally.
But also, if you're about to meet 72 virgins,
right? Yeah.
Can't wait a day.
I know, right? I guess they wanted some practice,
That's, and I respect that.
Right? Yeah. And then Muhammad Atta like rented a sports car and like took it up to like 180 on the highway the day before. Yeah. So there's all this like crazy shit that happened, and I do like talking about it.
Yeah.
But it's you just got to let them lead.
Right. You don't want to be the one, because then you're not too different from the homeless guy screaming.
Wait,
about
sorry
it.
if I missed this. Isn't there one guy that like missed the flight?
I don't know about that. I know that there was a guy who was like really, really fucking gung ho about it, and was like just wanted immediately to skip small aircraft and just fly big planes, and wasn't at all worried about learning to land. Yeah. And his ass got flagged. They were like, "Yo, man, what the hell are you doing?"
Yeah. Did he say that to an instructor?
Yeah, he's like,
I don't need to know how to land.
Yeah, he said that, and he was like incredibly like jacked. He's had like cocaine energy. You know what I mean? And it's like, bro, calm down. And I'm sure he got a talking to.
Because there was 19 guys, right? 19, so the idea is like there was supposed to be 20.
Right.
4 groups of 5 or whatever.
I think you might be right. The one that landed in Pennsylvania was the smallest one. It was like only half the size as the one that hit the North Tower. So that one had less hijackers on them, I think.
Where was that one supposed to go?
It was they speculated it was either supposed to hit the White House or the U.S. Capitol building. And the whole thing of 9/11 was they wanted to hit symbols of American power. Yeah. Because the establishing shot in every movie about New York is the Twin Towers. It's like literally America when you think about it.
World Trade Center.
Yes, exactly. And
sounds pretty fucking cool.
And even when I'm talking about it right now, I'm like, it's activating my interest again. You know what I mean? It's just so foundational. Like, I'm sure you guys are old enough. You guys remember where you were.
What do you think about folding up a $20 bill to make it look like the Twin Towers?
Dude, there's a guide on my tour that does that, or a guide for my company that does that. I'm like, bro, this is the most 7th grade. Like, did you like have like hot Cheeto dust on your hand, like type shit to do?
That blew my fucking mind.
I know, bro. Dude, and you can do a lot of shit with money. You know what I mean? To like, there's like an owl on the $1 bill, and there's like a society. What's it called? Whatever. I'm not going to get it down. Yeah. Exactly. Drake's mansion. That's a society.
It's not the Bohemian Grove.
Yes. That's what it is. Okay. Yeah. So there's like, dude. It's kind of like when you do a set over and over again, when you're trying to like polish it, and you're like, yo, I'm just going to say something crazy right now because I'm bored myself right now. And then a lot of the times, like, I remember like I have this joke about Nancy Pelosi, and one time I was like, dude, her tits are huge.
Oh my
and people
God.
were like, like, and I tried it every time after that and never worked again. You know what I mean? Because it's like coming from a place where you're like actually being, spontaneous. Yeah.
If they would have flown the planes into her boobs, same impact, we still would have invaded Iraq.
I think so. Yeah.
Twin Towers are her tits.
Same sized holes.
Right. Oh my God, that's so funny.
5 stories deep. Dude. The first time I think when those boobs dropped, it blew my mind.
I know, dude. She's always wearing.
Like, it was literally like I got more patriotic whenever her boobs dropped. I was like, yeah, dude, that's our senator.
Yeah, hell yeah.
She's investing in our taxpayer dollars.
Right.
Her fucking retirement.
It's like
account.
where do our taxpayer dollars go? And she just points. She's like right here.
And we're like, all right, that's fine.
Hell yeah.
Okay, can we? I had a random. Who's the most famous person who died on 9/11?
Who's the most famous person that died?
Is there anyone?
Yeah, I not really like famous. There's a guy named John O'Neill who was an FBI agent that basically spent his entire life warning against Al Qaeda.
Yeah,
and then about 6 months before the attacks happened, he got fired from the FBI and became the head of security for the Twin Towers and was killed by them. Right?
Oh
No
my
way.
Isn't that
God.
fucking crazy? Yeah.
That's-
So, and he had a wife and 2 mistresses, and they all came to his funeral. Like, so and then he was played by Jeff Daniels in The Looming Tower, the television series.
Oh, they made a TV?
Yeah,
series?
it's on Hulu. So
didn't
he's
know that.
probably, and there's a lot of people that became famous. And then Wells Crowther, the guy with the red bandana tied around his face that kept running into the building and saving people. It's kind of wild. I think it created fame. The most famous person who would have died would be Seth MacFarlane because he missed the flight. He got drunk the night before, and he was supposed to be on flight 11.
Really?
Yeah, but he got too hung over and missed his flight.
That's where I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe
Stewie Griffin,
what are the
dude.
chances?
Right,
But
right.
he, you know,
Uh-huh.
It's so funny the CIA calling Seth MacFarlane up to save Family Guy.
right. They're like, yo, your show got canceled, but it's coming back in 3
Yeah.
years. So like, just hold on tight.
yeah, it was canceled at the time.
Right. He had done the first 2 seasons.
But I'm pretty sure he had done like Johnny Bravo and stuff.
Right, yeah,
Like
he
he was
was-
in the game for a while.
for sure. He was like in the Hollywood inner sanctum
Yeah.
at that point. Yeah.
I didn't know he's Johnny Bravo.
He's not Johnny Bravo, but he worked on.
I didn't know that either.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he was like a Cartoon Network guy for a long time.
fucking love.
He's
Johnny
hella
Bravo.
talented.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
he can
Amazing
sing
singer, yeah.
incredibly well.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah, I know. So that would have been far and away the most famous person to die. But
Yeah.
there's all these stories like about people that
In
barely
that
missed.
video I watched in the 7th grade, it said that like there was supposed to be like Condoleezza Rice was supposed to be on one of the flights. Is that true?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, yeah.
It was the 7th grade.
Right.
Why would Condoleezza Rice be on like an
I don't think
economy
she's
flight?
flying commercial, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So, and then one other question is, well, from my memory of the Looming Tower, because I read it a long time ago, and I have a very bad memory.
Yeah.
Was that
Same.
it's basically, it just talks about how it was all miscommunication and kind of lack of effort
Yep.
between all the intelligence agencies,
Yep.
and that's why this was able to happen.
Yeah.
And that's how he kind of sweeps away any conspiracy theories.
Yes, exactly. So that's kind of his main point was this is just bureaucratic incompetence, you know?
Yeah.
And it's crazy, man, because I stopped mentioning that on the tour because there have been like spooks on my tour, like former CIA agents and FBI. And when I'm like, yo, this was an intelligence failure, you can see they get so pissed when they hear that. 'Cause
Really?
they're super sensitive about it. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah, well, don't fuck up.
yeah, I know. It represents like, and they went back to back with it because they followed it up with the invasion of Iraq. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like let's double down. Like let's go kill 500,000 people that had nothing to do with this. You know, at least that'll.
That's what makes it feel like more of a conspiracy.
That is crazy because if the last pages of the Looming Tower is about how like the Bush administration really wasn't concerned about going into Pakistan and Afghanistan where the terror cells were. They were like, yo, this is going to be a good way to focus on Iraq and because Saddam Hussein wanted to move off the petrodollar. And they were like, how about an F-22 to your dome? Yeah.
Yeah. How about we hang you in public?
Yeah,
and see-
right. Yeah. So
Make
we'll
a-
take
make
some
an
of that
example
oil.
of that
yeah.
one.
Yeah, man. But that's kind of wild. Like, because these, and they're very vague. People who were in intelligence, like you're like, oh, what'd you do for a living? And they're like, oh, I traveled all over the world. You know, I'm like, oh, overthrowing democracy. Is
Yeah,
that what you're doing?
My friend's dad is clearly in the CIA. And
Really?
She just
Yeah.
is just like, yeah, my dad, he lived in Pakistan for a while and he's fluent in Urdu. I'm like, your dad's white.
yeah.
And you live in Washington, D.C.
Yep,
Your
yep,
dad is
yeah.
a spy.
Right. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure he sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, anytime a white guy who knows Urdu, there's no good reason for you
Right.
to do that. And she's like from Virginia, D.C. area. So it's
Wow.
like, yeah, 1 + 1 = 2.
That's so on the nose, too. That's wild.
There's a great book by Annie Jacobson called Surprise Kill Vanish. I don't know if you've read it.
Yeah.
But there's a guy, Billy, it's basically about the history of paramilitarism in
Okay.
the U.S.
Uh-huh.
So it starts with whatever the CIA was before it was the CIA, like the
I think it was, it was something else.
SOS or
Uh-huh,
something. Yeah. But she kind of tracks the story along the career of this guy, Billy Waugh, who was he was in Mac VSOG, which was like in Vietnam. Kind of, they were doing all those crazy missions in Laos and Cambodia, and or maybe not Cambodia, but anyway, he was in Sudan. He took the first pictures of Saddam Hussein or Osama bin Laden. like ever.
Really? Wow.
And the reason I bring it up is because you talk about the white guy sticking out like a sore thumb. The way that he was able to exist in Sudan without being, he was just doing blackface.
Justin Trudeau should be like, hey man, blackface is useful, you know? Like,
yeah, every morning he's just putting on makeup.
Like, he had a rubber mask.
Whoa.
He had a rubber mask that he would put over himself. And he would go
like Mission
on,
Impossible.
Yeah, like Mission Impossible. And he would go on runs every morning in like a rubber suit in like the Sudanese heat.
I'm surprised he didn't die doing that. That's crazy.
Dude, you cannot kill this motherfucker. He did his last official mission, which none of them were official. They're all fucking illegal. Mm-hmm. But he did his last one when he was 72 years old.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's some Kill Bill shit, you know?
Yeah.
Just like, sword in the cane type thing, you know?
It's such a weird experience reading the book because, like, as a boy, I'm like, yeah. But as a human being, I'm like, no.
I know. Yeah. It's weird because, like, you're kind of like, you grow up playing like cops and robbers and like you're fed like, yo, America, fuck yeah, you know?
Yeah.
That song is so funny. But so I remember when we said we were going into Iraq, I was 10 years old and I was like, fuck yeah, dude, this is gonna be great. You know? And you learn like pretty quick that it's all bullshit, you know?
Yeah, it still is so funny that they're just like, Afghanistan attacked us, we must fight terror.
Yeah, right.
Fighting the concept of terror is just it'd
be like fighting scuba diving, you know what I mean? It's like, we're gonna go in there and fuck up their air. I don't know. It's really strange. And there's a good thing about Guantanamo Bay out right now, the serial thing. And I think that's why a lot of people are willing to open up about it now, is because it was all so meaningless, you know? So when they interview people about the 20-year mission against terror, they're just like, yeah, what the fuck was that, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
wait, so there's a serial, the people that did the
the Adnan Syed thing. And it's never been as good as the first season, but it is interesting because they're like talking to like people who worked on Guantanamo Bay, you know?
Wow.
And it's kind of similar to a lot of situations all over the world, but they're like, it's like a beachfront community that they're like chilling on. And meanwhile, there's all these like nameless people just in a jail cell.
Yeah.
And they're like, what was all that for? And they're like, we're not even sure,
you
know? And it's
optics.
Yeah,
it sounded cool.
Right, exactly.
You don't want to get sent to Guantanamo.
Right. Super prison.
Yeah. Yeah, a prison, like the ultra prison of the worst people on earth. But really it's just some like guy who trades metal.
Right. Yeah. He's like selling churros.
He sells aluminum internationally. And it's like, what the fuck? And then he got by the U.S. government.
And then we get to like ironically talk about it on a podcast. You know, like it's kind of the full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah, that sucks.
What's the experience? What is there one like thing that happened while giving a tour where you're like, oh my, like what sticks out the most?
Dude, have you ever, so there's this 17-year-old who have you guys ever heard the QAnon conspiracy theories that they're like underground tunnels that children are trapped underneath Central Park? Have you guys ever heard?
Perchance.
Yeah.
Perchance, I've dabbled on a secret browser.
He brought that up mid-tour. He was like, I heard that these are the entrances to the tunnels, you know, the towers things. Yeah. And I looked at the parents, you know, because I was like, yo, deal with this shit. You know what I mean? And I had to be, that was crazy. I had to like ring him in, you know what I mean? Be like,
what did the parents do?
Nothing. You know what I mean? I think a lot of parents view this as like 90 minutes of childcare that they don't have to handle. They're like, yo, pawn him off on this guy, you know? So I was like, first of all, bro, take a shower, brush your teeth, and talk to a woman. You know what I mean? It's like, then you'll stop believing in these tunnels.
You know what solves conspiracies? Getting laid.
Right, exactly. Like,
more conspiracies.
Really does.
Yeah.
Every time I'm on the brink of buying manure, I just get laid and I'm good to go.
Yeah. It's like every time you have fertilizer in your shopping cart, you're like, okay, all right, time to go to a bar. So that was wild. And then one time I had this older woman who straight up passed out like backwards and her wig came flying off, you know? And I was like, fuck, bro. And it's so
double
hard.
Emergency.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like, oh shit, you know, what do I do? And
she pisses herself at the same time. Like, Jesus Christ.
And I'm talking about something pretty banal like the trees, and she's like, holy fuck, you know, and like just goes back like a ton of bricks. And I was like, dude, it sounded like she cracked her head open. And so I like waved down these police officers. And it's so weird. It's kind of like having a really disruptive part of a show or something like that. Like somebody like almost gets into a fight in the crowd or something because you have to like recalibrate. You know what I mean? You have to be like, all right, everybody like take that out of your head. So those are the two. But yeah, you get a lot of conspiracy theories, and it's like a pet theory of mine, but there's a lot of like lonely young men out there right now, and like one of the way it manifests is these fucking wild, and like 9/11 is a good entry point for them.
Because 9/11 got us all.
Yeah, very much.
We were all aware of the conspiracies.
Totally.
So it's like that's a starter though.
And it's so exactly. It's like up your game, and the next level is QAnon. You know, that's like the one where it's like, yo, Donald Trump has been sent by angels to fight pedophilic lizards in the government. It's like holy shit, you know?
Yeah, insane. The one I'm currently stuck on is the baby blood one.
Oh yeah, adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton drinks that shit.
I told Grant this,
but how she looks so young.
I know. It's like, wouldn't you pick like somebody else besides Hillary
like
Clinton?
Oprah maybe.
Right,
Oprah still looks pretty.
J-Lo.
J-Lo.
Dude, she's bathing in that stuff and drinking it.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
But I was at a restaurant and I was behind the Martin Shkreli guy.
Yeah, you were? Whoa.
Yeah. And me and my brother were going to go get lunch.
You should have Subway guy punched him in the back of the head.
One time. One punch.
You should have jacked a bunch of $10,000 insulin into his fucking spine.
That's why I was like, how are we eating at the same restaurant?
Dude, how the mighty have fallen. Man.
How are
New
you?
York, New York.
I haven't had to put anyone's life away. I haven't had to outprice anyone into their death to eat at this restaurant. And you're eating at the same restaurant?
Yeah.
You need to do better. And then in my head, I was like, that's why they drink baby's blood.
Right.
that now it makes sense.
Right.
Because I can't drink baby's blood.
Right. Yeah. You like drink the baby's blood to stay out of the restaurants that, poor people.
It's just like you have to be able to do something that nobody, like when you reach $1 billion, you're like, I need to be able to do something no one else can do. And I can fly private. I mean, I can't fly private, but I can fly on a plane. I can go to a club. I can eat at the nicest restaurants.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's got, well, not everybody, but a lot of people can throw $400 on a credit card, at once, but very few people can go visit a certain island in the Caribbean that has a temple. That's the other thing about the prevalence of conspiracy theories right now in society is some of that shit is true. You know what I mean?
That's the biggest thing is it's like, so murky. And because the media refuses to touch it, it gets outsourced to people like Alex Jones.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, you won't talk about it, so he will.
Yeah, and he'll talk, but he's out of his fucking mind. And
takes it to the next level.
An amazing speaker.
He is.
You cannot deny that he's an amazing. I don't know if orator is the correct word for that guy, but he's just a motor mouth in a way that most people cannot.
Motor mouth is the right word.
Yes, exactly. And he can go for 4 hours. That's by himself. That's crazy. That's a skill.
There's 1% of some fact that he's like fractured in a way where it just leads off to other things, and it's so like entertaining. And you pick up all these little things, and the next thing you know, you're like, there's interdimensional pedophiles.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're doing some weird stuff at CERN.
Yes, yeah.
They're probably not interdimensional pedophiles, but they're doing some weird stuff at CERN.
Right.
Is that where the particle collider is?
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you'll talk to people. I wish sometimes I could in Harry Potter, how he can just take memories out of his head with a wand. You know what I mean? I wish I could do that with like people that I meet. Because I'm like, yo, you're awesome and I respect you. And then I see what they put on Facebook that like a black hole is going to be opened up with a particle collider. And I'm like, damn it. You know what I mean? I wish I could just forget that immediately. So the next time I see you, I'm not like, yo, you're cool and we had a drink together. But you also think that like a black hole is going to open up in the center of the earth because the eclipse is happening? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
That happens with comedians a lot.
Totally.
There's a guy I met at a comedy festival in North Carolina, and we followed each other on Facebook. And then I was like, oh, I can't be friends with you.
Right. You're like, damn it. Yeah.
Just saying like the worst things on earth.
I know,
and it's just like, oh, there's a lot of mental health.
Yeah.
Facebook is the id.
Totally, bro. Totally.
Facebook is the shadow. Dude.
Yeah.
I feel like people black out on Facebook.
I know.
And then the rest of their life they keep on Instagram. It's like, oh, I'm in Costa Rica.
Right.
And then they black out on Facebook, and they're like, they're drinking baby blood.
Dude, I know, and it's so crazy, and like it makes it hard like every time. And then you'll say something to them because you're in a bad state because it's like 1 a.m. and maybe you've had like a drink or something like that, and you're just like,
it's 1
a.m.
and
this
you've
is
had one
bullshit.
drink.
You know, you type that out, and then you can never like be in the same room with them again, or you can, but it's just awkward. You know, because you've like had a fight online. Yeah. So I deleted my Facebook, which had a deleterious effect on my comedy career because a lot of small town scenes use Facebook to book still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I probably need to get on it again. But I was seeing that shit so much, like people that are like, I'm like, oh, they're really funny. And then they're at January 6th. You're like, what the fuck? Like, you know? So strange.
Hilarious.
I mean,
it is funny too.
Is that because, I mean, you're very politically active online and off, I assume.
Yeah.
But is that something that you experience a lot of, like, you know, you have relationships with people, you have a nice time, and then you post a video and they're like, they won't talk to you anymore? Yeah,
exactly. I had all these people that were like, you always seemed like such a reasonable person. And to my mind, I'm like, this is reasonable, you know? Right. Like, but to you, it's like, and that's, you know, the issue with Israel-Palestine is there's competing realities, like beside each other, you know? Not to get into that, but like people are super like passionate either way on it. And, it's like, I like to call it the siloing of information. Mm-hmm. Like if you just get your news from here and I just get my news from here, you know? Yeah. But I actually like reading conservative news.
You have to.
Yeah, because I want to know how they think. Like one of the stupidest things that happened when Trump was president was the left started like canceling voices on the right, or wouldn't even engage with them. Like Steve Bannon was going to do the New Yorker Festival. Yeah, you guys remember that?
I remember this.
And I was like, yeah, that's good because we should know how they think. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's going to make for a better dialogue.
You can't dismiss any argument.
Right,
if you are right, then you should be able to dismantle whatever the wrong person says.
Totally. Right? And like, just come correct. You know, if you're so like sure of your worldview, then you should easily be able to dispatch this guy that's talking about like, you know, paramilitary take over the government, you know? You should be able to say, yo, that's a bad idea. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's like disappointing to see because it's like, I want to hear that stuff because I'm not smart enough and I don't hang out with people who are smart enough for us to have those conversations.
Yeah, I want to hear like somebody like, I don't know, pick your Noam Chomsky, he's ancient, but like somebody that's intelligent, like go up against someone who kind of, you know, like Ben Shapiro, he like fashions himself as like a wonder kid. Right. He's like, yo, I'm the smartest man alive, you know? And it's like, but he only debates people that are 22 years old. You know? So it's like, go up against somebody who can actually fuck your shit up.
The amount of times I've seen him just like pick on a college student, I'm like, this is so disturbing.
I know. He's like, going to the playground and like pushing them in the sand.
Yeah, but it seems like a weird porn for like guys that want to dunk on Gen Z.
Yes.
Or like liberals.
Yeah, feel smart.
It's like, no, just find the two smartest people and let them talk it out.
Right.
And there's a guy that does it for liberals too. It's like what's his name's Destiny. Have you seen him?
Oh yeah, I've seen him.
And I'm just like,
he's funny.
Yeah, I'm just like the way that you're talking, it's like after a while I'm like, you can't know this much about everything.
Right.
Nobody knows this much information. You're just good at arguing.
Yeah, exactly. And he'll like go ad hominem on you, just always keep you on your back foot. You know, there are a lot of like good comedians that do the same thing. It reminds me of like crowd work where you like put somebody off kilter, you know what I mean? So they can't even, they like sound stupid, you know?
Yeah.
So it was awesome to see Destiny debate Norman Finkelstein and him being like, your knowledge of this is just so minimal. You know, you read like 2 Wikipedia articles and it's so funny to like watch the tactics that he used against him.
Whenever that Norman Finkelstein goes off, it's one of the funniest things because he's like, I mean, he's so passionate and it's beautiful, but he's like just whining at people.
Right. Yeah. It's so funny.
It's like the most aggressive whining I've ever seen.
And his posture, he looks like he's melting into the couch. You know?
It's deflating from the beginning. Right. If you were to start the video and then go to the end, you would see just his head. Right. Just his head above the desk.
And I think it's for the weight of the stupidity that he has to deal with like all the fucking time, you know. It's exhausting, man. And I'm bad about this, but I'll respond to trolls and I'm like, what am I doing? I'm fucking mopping the ocean right now. You know what I mean? Like there's a billion of them and one of me. So I need to be better about that.
I also think a lot of those trolls don't actually hold their views as strongly as you probably hold yours.
Totally. And they want me to do that. You know what I mean? They want me to get me. But the most fascinating trolls out there are the ones that are like the boomers, because they don't know that you need to have a private profile where you don't have your children in the pictures. You know what I mean? They like go at you and you're like, you almost want to DM them and be like, yo, man, like this is a bad idea. Like, some people could find out like where your family works. And
I'm
stuff.
not crazy, but I'm not everyone on the internet.
right. Yeah,
There's people like you on here.
Yeah, exactly. That have that have the same level of like distorted passion. You know,
you're not the only person in Oakley's on the, like. Watch out, buddy.
You're not the only guy who can take a photo of himself in a truck. Right? I'll put it that way.
Right. Yeah. There's people taking photos in Teslas that are just as angry as you.
There's a woman who has a photo of her in front of a march.
Right.
She will get
Pink
you.
hat on. Yeah.
She will get you.
She will use AI to dox you.
Yeah, bro.
Once AI starts doxing each other.
It is.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's a new software where you can take a picture of someone, or you can like load up a picture of someone, and it can tell you where they were when that picture was taken.
Oh, dude, that's terrifying.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, do you remember when Shia LaBeouf was like just like appearing places?
Oh yeah,
and they kept finding him using like wind patterns and weather patterns.
Oh yeah,
it's just doing that stuff like that.
The most insane story ever.
Yeah,
that is wild. He's a crazy guy.
Yeah,
another example of talented but just off his rocker. Yeah.
Which I don't know if it's to blame the childhood fame or the talented people are just crazy,
right?
But something with him. But I think he has like redemption arcs.
He does, yeah. It comes in waves, right? He did that freestyle, you know, that was like actually good.
Oh,
he went on Sway,
Sway,
you know?
baby.
Oh, really?
And then
once you've ingratiated yourself with Sway,
right?
You're good to go.
Was it
hit
Five
the
Fingers of
cultural.
Death? Was it like the 5 Fingers of Death thing?
Yeah, exactly.
I think so.
Yeah, you should watch it. It's pretty good. I can never tell if those freestyles are fully freestyles or
a lot of them
like,
are just their lyrics that they're just doing over.
Right, and they're doing it like.
But isn't that what freestyling is? Where it's like you have lyrics and then it's about matching it to the beat.
That might be right. Yeah, I don't know.
Just me talking about what freestyling is maybe the worst thing.
I always thought it was Off the Dome.
This could be a good spinoff show for you, man. Where you just like analyze freestyles.
Grant finds rap. He's on SoundCloud.
That deserves protest already. That shouldn't happen.
Wait, what were we talking about right before? Oh, so I didn't get to look at your Instagram as much, but have you always been politically active, or is this something more as of late?
I have, man. I've been talking about, like, I was really disappointed with where it wound up after like 2020, when like the backlash was harder to what was happening than the actual thing. Like when George Floyd was killed, I was like, fuck yeah, this is going to change the culture. And then it became, yo, these 8-year-olds are being told that they're evil for being white, you know, for being in school, you know what I mean? So, and then that became the debate, you know what I mean? And I'm worried that it's going to happen again, you know what I mean? Where it's going to be like, yo, kids will just believe anything they see on the internet, and we need to restrict, you know, kind of like what happened with the TikTok ban and stuff like that. So yeah, I was really political during that. I made all these posts and then I deleted them because I was like, I don't want to come off like an unhinged lunatic, you know what I mean, in the long view of history. But this is a very big passion of mine, Palestinian liberation. And I'm keeping it up because I'm absolutely convinced that people on this side of the issue are way out in front of the culture, right? The culture is going to catch up to them and be like, yo, this was always the case, you know? But it just feels lonely right now. But it's going to be the same as like, I don't know. Has South Africa, we'll say. You know what I mean? Where it's like, why was this ever a thing? You know? Like,
one thing I've noticed is anything that came out before 2023 on the situation was always pro-Palestine.
Right, yeah. It's
like,
not
I have
new.
never seen anything prior to October 7th that was like Palestinian people.
I'll show you some accounts. Don't worry, you can find it.
I'm sure if we go into your comments section.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. There's this guy who, because it is like troll farms. You know, there's a person who comments on my stuff called IDF Machine. You know, and I'm like, bro, be a little more cloak and dagger about it. This is so like, you're like, I am a bot.
1085926.
Right. I'm like, okay, man, you have one picture on your profile, 8 followers. Seems like you created this account to troll me, you know? But yeah, I've always been passionate about it, but this is the only issue. One of the problems I have with like people that only criticize like Donald Trump and stuff like that is like you're risking nothing. You know what I mean? Like it's so easy to do. It's like the New York Times does that, right? And whether he becomes president or not again is kind of immaterial because you have almost no control over that because half of our country is going to vote for him regardless. But this seems like actually public opinion is changing on it. You know what I mean? And like you can make a difference if you, because one of the things that I noticed is like when I started doing this, I got a lot of people in private being like, yo, man, love your stuff. Keep going. And I want to be like, well, you say something, you know what I mean? And then it'll move forward. Yeah. But then again, I know that, and I made a post about this yesterday. We're so living check to check right now that like, I totally understand why people don't want to risk any, you know what I mean? Like you got to fucking eat. You got to pay your rent.
It's always the issue though. Yeah. It's always the like, am I willing to burn myself?
Totally.
So few people are. And I am most of the time on that side.
Right,
of not sticking my neck out.
There are certainly times that I've done that in my life. And I kind of just like decided to say fuck it with this issue. But yeah, totally, man. Like there's so much shit that like you can't say even though you believe it.
Yeah, I mean, that's where sometimes it feels like a conspiracy. It's like it feels like things are set up this way,
right,
to slowly corner you into not speaking your mind.
Yes,
because your money is becoming less and less money,
right,
and you can't own anything. And even if you own it, there's still ways that it can be taken from you.
Right. Yeah, they can like be like, oh, let's see how closely you paid your taxes. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or you know, like if you work for a job, there's ways to not fire you, but still fire you, like give you less shifts, you know what I mean? Or just start to give you negative performance reviews and stuff like that. So there's all these ways of like you put it perfectly, like just pushing you into a corner, you know?
Slowly but surely.
Yeah.
When they got Andrew Tate, I said it's over. Once they start taking the Lamborghinis, I say it's over.
Right.
They got him with like sex trafficking, didn't they?
Yeah, in like Romania, that's tough.
Isn't that their like main form of industry or something?
Yeah.
That's like half their economy. That's and it's funny what is called cancel culture and what is not, because this to me is cancel culture, you know, people being pro-Palestine and losing their jobs for it. But like literally running a sex trafficking ring is like being called cancel culture as well.
They just call it cancel culture. It's only conservative viewpoints.
Right, totally.
You can be canceled for.
Yes, very much so. But that, canceled. Like Harvey Weinstein just got his shit overturned. You know what I mean? Like,
wait, so he's like,
just in one court.
Yeah,
but he's still
in prison.
He's gonna be in prison. Yeah,
but or you know, I think Bill Cosby's out. You know what I mean? Like,
I heard he's gonna tour.
Yeah, that's so fucking funny.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I wish I could pirate tickets because I do want to see.
Yeah, I do, dude. All right, question: opening for Bill Cosby. Would you guys do it?
How much does it pay?
Brother, at this point, stage time is stage time, baby.
Yeah. Hey, a show's a show.
How much does it pay? I think that's the question.
Yeah. What about, would you do it for $5,000?
Yeah.
I would suck your dick for $5,000.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah.
I don't know.
Can you even
5K's
talk,
not that
dude? He's
much.
like dead.
I know. You would probably bury him, honestly. You know what I mean? You'd
I would just do it for that.
Yeah.
Have you seen his last special?
I can't say that I have, no.
It's so funny.
Oh, really? Dude, I mean,
so
bummer.
Yeah. Bummer.
Yeah, he's like Richard Pryor was doing him at first. You know what I mean? He's been around that long. Like he's like foundational. Dude, it's a pretty big argument against that. Like evil lives forever. You know what I mean? Like this guy is like 80.
Dude, that's what when Trump talks, I'm like, there's like vitriol that is like pumping through his blood, and that's why he's the same-ish age as Biden.
Yeah,
but way sharper.
I know, he's like eating McDonald's all the time, and like
dude, him and
sharp
Warren Buffett,
right?
They're 1,000 years old. He's controlling the world economy, and he's being fueled by like antibiotic meat and like MSG.
Right. They're eating like takeout.
Anything I've ever been told.
I know.
Like even when people are like sugar's bad for you, is it?
Right.
Because Berkshire Halfway is run by Sour Patch Kids. Okay, it's like
damn, bro, that's fire right there. That's funny.
It's like I don't know. I think that's like amongst all the other things that are happening right now, which are terrible and scary, it's also just, and I've been trying to do a joke about it. It's not working, but I don't believe in anything.
Right.
I don't know how to believe.
Yeah.
I don't know how to choose.
Right.
And
well, the science changes like every 2 years, right? They're like, actually, fat is good for you. You know what I mean? And cholesterol isn't real. And you're like, well, what? So should I just eat butter? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like apparently.
At least the Bible is done.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like I'm gonna be a conservative Christian in 4 years.
There's no
comedy's
new
not
additions.
gonna work out.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm just gonna I'm gonna not grow my hair. I'm like not gonna cut my hair.
Right.
I'm gonna be like next level
Tent preacher. Yeah.
Tent preacher. Talking to snakes.
It's a good racket, man. There's a lot of money in that. So
Yeah.
Well, it's all it's about the money in the end, isn't it?
Right, yeah, very much so. Yeah.
I still get to perform.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, I think that's like, have you seen those videos of those doctors that like go to grocery stores and like pick shit up and are like, this is all poison. You know what I mean? I'm like,
no, but
Yeah.
that's right up my alley.
yeah. But I feel like that's just a way of being like, be not poor. You know what I mean? You need to buy organic.
Yeah.
You know?
Isn't that the messaging of all advertising?
Yeah, it's like you should go to Equinox and eat better. I'm like, all right, well,
Yeah.
do you have any money? Because
Yeah.
Just the first part of that demand is $350 a month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like a box of pasta is like $3.
Yeah.
And feed you for a week.
Right.
And then pasta sauce. That's like what I used to live off of.
Yeah, I know. When you're like trying to make it, when you're struggling, like food is the most consistent expense you're going to have. So
exactly.
you want to eliminate that.
Yeah, and
Dollar
even
slice.
the cheapest, the eggs are $8.
I know, man. And that's the other thing we were talking about, like, about like not speaking your mind. It's like food is a huge pressure in your life, you know, and you have to, that's like first and foremost is like feed yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it really annoys me when like people are in like Bali and shit like that, or like, and they're like, just quit your job, you know, like come and live out here. It's like, bro, like, let's see what your dad does for a living.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
exactly.
And also, will he hire me?
yeah, right.
Can I work for your
Because
dad?
he seems chill. He's letting you go out there.
You can work remote with
right.
an 18-hour time difference. Sign me up, baby.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, it's not a dirty joke I'm trying to do about it, but it's like I grew up with guns.
Oh, cool.
And I love guns.
Mm-hmm.
But because they're fun and cool.
Yes.
I don't have this like. I mean, it just bothers me that gun guys are like it's not about self-defense. It's about tyranny, fighting tyranny. Tyranny's here, buddy.
Right.
Tyranny's here.
Yeah.
You didn't even bring the guns to January 6th.
I know.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Also, like, they're not coming at you with a gun. They're doing artillery from 5 miles away, and they're going to hit you with a drone. So your gun's not going to do anything.
Some guy
the drone
on
is-
an iPhone.
yeah, like in another state is like, all right, boop, you know, and then you're gone.
That drone shoots like a 50 cal bullet, and it's
Right.
going to hit you in the dick.
Yeah.
And you paid for it, too. by the way.
And that's your tax money going
You
to work.
paid for it.
No, I completely agree. I used to be kind of like more annoying in that way, where I'm like, no one should have a gun. It's so stupid. And now I'm just like, dude, who gives a fuck, man? It's completely over. Like you can't.
There's no saving it.
Right. So just
So you have no
cat's out of
hope.
the bag. Yeah.
You have no hope.
No. I just have no hope about putting the guns back. Like, you know, in Australia when they had a mass shooting, like they paid for everybody to like give them
the
their
buybacks.
and then they like incinerated them.
Mm-hmm.
There's more guns than there are people in America. You know what I mean? I think that's done. So I think it's just like about hopefully keeping M16s out of elementary schools. Like that's the hill. That's
Or-
Step one.
Yeah.
Or in
Then
the
middle
right
schools.
hands.
Yeah.
Then high schools.
Right. Yeah. In 10 years, colleges. We'll work our way up.
Yeah, that's the 4-year plans at this point. It's just slowly decreasing.
Right. That's like the most moderate. Like that's what Pete Buttigieg is going to run on in 2028. It's like, let's slowly take machine guns out of the classroom. Yeah. Can we do that? And they're like, no.
You're really boo this man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like how is your mental health with all this? Because once you're in, it's hard to get out.
Yeah. You know, I have people like it's best that they're good intention, but they're like, Davidson, how you been, man? You know, because I think they see what I post. And honestly, it's been good. My mental health is good because this has allowed me to meet, like, for instance, I wouldn't be doing this, you know, without it. So I'm meeting people from all over. And as long as you get off the internet and go and like still have like I'm gonna go watch the Knicks game later with my friends. You know what I mean? Like that shit keeps you going. You know what I mean? So if you can just separate the two and take the small victories when you get them, you know. But like I said, I got kicked off my. I didn't say this on the podcast yet, but show. Sorry.
Yeah.
How fucking dare you?
But I got kicked off a show for my pro-Palestine views, you know, and that was back in December, you know, a live show, and that really bummed me out, you know. But now I'm like, that in hindsight, like all the people who worked at that bar are now my friends because they're like, hey man, that's fucked up that happened. You know what I mean? So you kind of see that, like I said, we're just a bit ahead of the culture, and I do think that when, you know, frankly, when boomers start dying, you know what I mean? It'll be
so many problems will be fixed.
Right. Yeah. So I think like people like you, people like us, we got a little bit more of a optimistic worldview in a weird way. You know what I mean?
It is
like,
strange.
Yeah, it's like
there's such a sense
we
of
want
dread.
a better world. You know? Whereas I think what we're competing against is people being like, it's fucking fine, bro. You know, it's like, what about this is fine? You know,
it's fine for you.
Exactly. Like you won. You bought a cheap house in the 70s and you are, dude, one of the things the government did that pissed me off so much is they took away the child care tax credit and increased Social Security. It's like, could there be any more way to show that all of the politicians are boomers? You know what I mean? They're like, here's some more money.
So old.
I know.
They're so old. The only ones that are young are literal like, caricatures of some group.
Right. Margie Taylor Greene.
Margie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, right.
Ilhan Omar.
Right. Yeah.
Pete
That's so
Buttigieg.
true. That's so true. Yeah.
It's like they have to have a shtick. If
that
it's a regular
so
guy, it's going to be a guy who's 900 years old.
Damn, bro, that you blew my mind. Yeah, because it's like identity politics driven. If you're because like you got to ride that all the way to the top, and then when they get there, they mellow out. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, we actually can't do anything.
Except for invest in Raytheon.
Right.
Before we give them a contract.
Right.
For
We can buy a
$2 billion.
missile. Yeah. They'll only know how to do two things, and that's cut taxes and fund the military. You know, that's like and I sound so pessimistic, but I only am in the sense that I think a generational move of power has to happen. Like young people have to get more power.
That's what made me excited about the college campuses going to protest.
Yeah, me
was
too.
like, yo, they believe in something. They're going against what you're seeing on TV.
Right.
And they're sticking to it.
And they're also, these are not Wake Tech community college students. These are the people who are going to be the leaders, right? Because they go to Harvard and Columbia and shit. Yeah.
The leaders can come from Wake Tech Community College. Thank you very much, Davidson.
I know, that was so classist. Yeah.
My associate's degree has gotten me here.
Yeah. No, that's true too. You know, it's just a little bit more of an uphill climb.
It was cool to see Macklemore put out a diss track on the police.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, that's when you know the tide has turned.
Right. Macklemore is like bedroom college rap. You know what I mean?
Amongst all the Drake and that's what I was like, the only way Drake can win this is if he goes pro-Palestine.
That's so true. Dude, he's got to like take the moral high ground. He's like, yeah, I might be a pedophile, but I'm a pedophile for Palestine.
He's like, I just did this to garner attention and highlight this.
Right.
Pedophile for Palestine.
Yeah, I don't think
Such
they
a
want
good
that.
move.
Right.
Yeah.
P for P, dude.
P for P, baby.
But it's been really cool to see. Are you you said you started comedy here?
Yeah, man. Started in 2015.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, at Broadway Comedy Club.
Nice.
You guys ever done that
Where
one
everyone
before?
starts.
Dreams
Yeah.
are made.
Yeah, exactly. It's a cool I don't want to shit on it, but it really is like you see the haves and have-nots there for sure, you know.
Yeah.
But I liked starting here because we were talking about it. It's like training in like increased gravity or something like that. Because when you go home, you're like, oh shit, I'm pretty good at comedy.
Yeah.
You don't
the
ever
weight vest of
right,
comedy,
exactly.
yeah.
But you like here it can be discouraging. But when you go home, you're like, fuck yeah. What about you? You started here?
I started here too.
Yeah.
And
how do you feel about it?
I'm the only thing I'm sad is that I didn't start earlier.
Yeah, me too.
That's really my issue is, but like in my head, I'm from Oklahoma, and like Oklahoma, when I was like in high school and college, didn't really have a scene. And now they they had one club, but it was like a blue collar club that like, I didn't really, I didn't know anyone that went there or anything like that.
Right.
But now the scene's like gotten a lot bigger. It's just like, I started here and it feels like you're like treading water and going nowhere, while I have friends back home that are like doing club spots.
Yeah, that's the constant. It's like how you measure progress. You know, it's like, do you want to have like a bulletproof 15 minutes, or do you want to be doing like feature spots for road comedians? You know, it's kind of like which one.
They're getting spots and they're like they're kind of like building their networks and getting good at the same time.
Right.
Meanwhile, it feels like the only thing I'm doing is like getting good material.
Right. Do you think you would have?
It's not great. It's just like, I can like write.
Do you think that you would have a radio show though if you're still back in Oklahoma?
Not have a podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe with somebody.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it'd just be this, but we'd have a couch.
Yeah. It would have this,
nice couch. Yeah.
This is an official. Dude, we're on Radio Free Brooklyn.
Radio Free Brooklyn.
You're listening to Radio Free Brooklyn, independent, listener-supported radio. You're listening to Bottom of the Barrel Morning Show on Radio Free Brooklyn. Thanks for listening, and your support keeps us going. So make sure to donate at radiofreebrooklyn.org/donate.
Remember, it's a 501c3.
It's 501c3. So you can donate and keep us afloat. This is a fantastic. You were here listening to Matthew before.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that dude he's got quite a collection of.
He's got quite a collection, and he curates it.
Yeah,
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. No, the whole operation is really cool. I don't know, and he does the bumps in between the shows. Is that how it works? Like, or is that a whole show? Over there? Like,
it's an hour. He does an hour.
Oh, cool. All right.
Here.
Yeah.
And then there's like a ad that plays between every single one.
Gotcha.
You have your own show on YouTube.
Davidson Boswell show.
I am a fan of.
Oh, I appreciate you, man.
I've watched every episode.
So I need to get to this level where I have like better equipment, you know what I mean? But I just like said fuck it and started it, and that is where doing comedy really pays off, is you learn to just plow through. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to keep talking, you know, even in the lulls, even in and to not have any feedback coming back at you, takes some adjusting. Like, I respect the fuck out of people like Bill Burr, who just talk for an hour and a half, and like, you can tell he's like put some thought into it. He's like, I'm gonna talk about this, and then I'm gonna talk about this, and then have a take. You know what I mean? And that's something that I've really been digging, and it also like helps keep you like sober and focused. You know what I mean? To, like,
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like if you're like, okay, how am I gonna like present the best? I don't want to be hungover. I don't want to be like looking like a shit took a crap. You know what I mean? So like that keeps you going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And doing stuff like this helps so much too. It all like. And then I don't know what you guys do for a living, but my tour guiding job also helps. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
feeds
you're always
into it.
talking.
Yeah, you're on a lot.
Yeah. I'm talking my ass off.
How often are you putting out episodes of the show?
Once a week, roughly.
Nice.
Yeah. Sometimes it'll be 8 days, sometimes 9.
Yeah.
And I got this guy from Bangladesh who's helping me with like SEO, and and he just like hit me up, and I was like, okay, this might be a scam or something like that. But he was so persistent. Yeah, I was like, all right, man, here you go. You know, so he's got the keys to it. Not and that's been helping.
One day
too.
He's gonna take over.
Right, exactly. But it's like it's cool to see. The one thing about like having a cause or having like a purpose to it is a lot of people are willing to like subscribe and help you out. You know, what I mean? Because they're like they believe in what you're doing.
Yeah,
which is harder to do when you're like just talking about. Which I love this type of comedy, but like dicks and pussies and fucking dating. And
there's a
like
space
that.
for everything.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just like, what do you want out of it? You know?
Right. But you get an extra bump of support when people like think what you're saying is more important. Than
I would say so.
My dick is also a pussy.
Which is
my bit. And if you take it,
fuck. All right. Well, dude, damn. Yeah.
Yeah. It's great to do and fun to make people laugh, but it's hard to hang your hat on a
right. I think
at least mine.
Yeah.
How about that?
A fez, like a little tiny hat. Yeah. I think like sorry, I don't know.
No, I just it took a while for it to load in my brain.
Right.
Because you don't hear fez a lot.
Right. I was picturing I
was picturing the monkey from The Simpsons.
Exactly. Yeah. But I worry that like you come off as like saccharine sometimes. You come off as like overly like self-important and stuff like that. So I really I'm still like trying to find my voice and stuff like that, like trying to like also keep it light, you know?
Yeah.
And as I make it, because right now I'm doing about 20 minutes, but ideally it's going to be like an hour-long show eventually.
Whoa.
And I want to have it like kind of crest and waves and stuff like that, like talk about stuff that's going on in your personal life, and then like bigger issues as well. So, and like I said, like you guys go for 2 hours. I did not expect that. How do you guys find it? Do you guys find that to be easy, or sometimes it's heavier lifting, or?
You're a good guest.
Yeah.
You're a good talker.
Thank you.
But a lot of the times what happens is we get into a groove at about an hour and we shit the bed at about an hour and a half.
Right.
Yeah.
Because very few people have an hour and a half worth to talk about.
Yeah.
Have 2 hours to talk about. And when we can push through that, it's great. But I feel like we're getting better at it.
Yeah.
But it's funny. You would never think of it as a skill unless you were in this industry.
Right. Totally.
Some people are more loquacious than others.
Yeah.
But it takes like effort.
Totally.
I never thought any of this was going to take effort.
Right.
Seriously.
Me
I
neither.
thought
Yeah.
I'd get up on stage, I'd be funny.
Yeah.
And then
People
they
would
give
give
me
me spots.
Yeah. And they give me
That's the
spots.
other part of it. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, no. If you do that, you're going to kill yourself.
Right,
Because
right.
you're going to watch everybody do better than you. It's going to be way more suffering.
Right.
And so it's just like learning like, oh, this is in and of itself a skill.
Yeah. And like kind of being proud of yourself, like even no matter what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like learning that these like benchmarks, because we were talking about this before we went on, got on air, but like the benchmarks change, right? Like, so when I started, I'm like, I'll do JFL. That doesn't exist anymore. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to do it because you like it.
I'm going to look more into the conspiracy I made up whenever he told me that.
Yeah. The source is myself.
I literally was just like, you're like, JFL's not around anymore. And I was like, that's because Netflix took it down.
Right.
And now I'm on that board.
Dude, it sounds very plausible to me.
Did you guys watch that 3.5 hour roast?
Oh no, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
I heard it was good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, the big hitters did really good.
Tony Hinchcliffe's, I saw the supercut of him.
Hinchcliffe was funny, but the best part is he's just walking upon stage. He goes, "Nice shoes, bitch. Did you win those in the divorce?" And he just keeps going.
That's awesome.
And it was just like such a throwaway line, but like he did it so casually as he's walking on stage. It's so funny.
The who is the other the woman?
Nikki.
Nikki, yeah, she killed it.
Nikki
Nikki
Murder.
Glaser?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nikki Glaser.
okay. I
think
didn't
she
see
did
anything other than Tony's like little supercut.
Her, Tony, Schultz did pretty good, and then like Edelman, some other people. Will Ferrell came out as
Julian
Anchorman.
Edelman did the wow.
Yeah, though a lot of players did.
Yeah,
Drew Bledsoe did it. He talked for way too long.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's just like, but one thing that I did notice is that it seems like Netflix is becoming like kind of like self-serving in the idea that like everyone on there did a commercial for what they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like Kevin Hart plug was definitely there because he has some shit coming
Yeah,
out.
dude, it's all like metaverse stuff at this point. Like
Yeah.
it's
Right.
all like how do we feed back into our own machine?
Which is why I think Netflix hostile takedown JFL.
Right, because
It's the only
JFL
thing-
is like more an organic, like community building thing.
Yeah.
And Netflix is like ruthlessly capitalist. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, we're doing this so that we can do this. It is interesting that they're going to do events like this more now. Like they're going to do boxing, you know.
Yeah. The Tyson Logan Paul fight.
Yeah. Did
They're
you see?
just becoming TV.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we just like went away for TV for a while. Now it's coming back. Yeah. $2 million. You can get a $2 million ticket to go see Tyson.
No way.
what?
Yeah, and like you can get like photo ops with them and stuff like that. And I'm like, what person?
This
You know
is
what I
why.
mean?
This is why we need guns.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
What you just said is why we
right,
actually need
no one
guns.
should have that much money.
Whoever is buying and whoever's selling that,
Right.
deserve that both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them need to get off.
I can't wait to buy those tickets like the second it comes out and then resell it for more.
Right.
I can't wait to use AI.
You
to
have 12
Ticketmaster.
credit cards that you're like typing in as fast as you
Well,
can.
no, I'll steal my mom.
Yeah, Barb. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy
by the way.
Mother's Day, Barb.
Yeah, I stole all your money.
Yeah.
But I bought it. I bought a ticket to Tyson
It's an
fight.
investment.
It's an investment.
Yeah.
Don't be a bitch.
That might heal the nation if Mike Tyson knocks out Jake
Imagine-
Paul.
I think that is what we need.
Right,
Oh, absolutely.
It'll bring us together. Yeah.
Boomers will love that.
Yes. Yeah.
That would be the funniest call to the bank to just be like, someone stole my credit card and bought a $2 million ticket.
Just one, by the way.
Right.
Try to
yeah.
get it refunded.
Yeah. Oh man.
I was going to ask, ever since like doing and like being more politically active, have you like had tension between other comics?
Yes. Yeah. Without naming names.
Yeah.
But you know what? It died because it was at first it was like, well, of course they're going to respond. This was a massive terrorist attack, and now it's just a straight up G side. You
Yeah.
know, and so all those voices kind of went back to what they were doing, except for, and I'm not saying this, I'm saying this, your guys are not, but Rich Voss is the guy that's like still very gung-ho about like, yo, fuck them up, you know what I mean? And to me, that like belies some sort of mental health issue. I'm like,
Schumer was pretty bad too.
Yeah, she was. Schumer was bad, and then Brett Gelman, who's not really like a stand-up, but he's like a comedic actor.
Yeah,
he's in all those like kind of horror comedy movies,
balding guy.
Yeah, balding guy. And to me, I think they're just like you can't win them over at this point. But there were two people in the comedy scene that kind of came at me, and I was just like, trust me, man, this is like not going to get better. You know what I mean? And like, you're probably like, at first they were very open about their support, and I don't hear anything now, So, and I think that really tells you where, even though it is strange that still a lot of people will like not come down on any side of the issue. But I think I used to think that meant you supported Israel, but now I think that means you support Palestine. Like, does that make sense?
Like, if you're being quiet,
if you're being quiet,
you support Palestine,
right? Yeah, and I think like, because I see what they like, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, they just like probably have a media job or something.
Well, for me, it's just like, I feel like anything I post, I don't know enough to really like I've like posted some stuff, but I'm not nowhere near the amount that other people have.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't feel like I'm like, I know a little bit, but I feel like if somebody DM'd me and started talking about it, I'd be like, okay, this is all I know.
Right.
I just know that I literally follow a photographer who took a photo of a dead baby the other day. So that's where I'm at.
And that's the reason for the TikTok ban. Is like, they don't want you seeing that shit,
Yeah.
So I wonder when TikTok gets banned, if like Instagram will be the next one where it's like not banned, but just like really restricted.
What a moral, this might actually be one of the biggest flexes of all time though, is if you go to Mark Zuckerberg and you're like, hey, I want you to ban all this stuff, and he's like, I can take you down.
Right. Yeah. It's wild.
I control the social consciousness in a way. If you ban TikTok, Instagram 100%.
Becomes everything. Yeah. And dude, the fact that they own WhatsApp is crazy, because like, if you go to more developing countries, like their entire economies are WhatsApp. You know what I mean? Like, everybody just talks to one another on WhatsApp. So if it goes down, you're like literally sending a fucking financial nuke,
like Indonesia cannot communicate.
Right. Yeah. No, exactly. That is a great example. Yeah.
My aunts, like, every family member in Pakistan that I have, we all communicate through WhatsApp.
Right. So, and if it went down, people would be like, fuck, and then people have all these digital businesses now and stuff like that. Yeah. So it really is wild to have that level of power. To just be like, and you're done.
Yeah. Some would say too much.
Yeah.
Some people might say
too
that.
much. Yeah.
Not me.
Not me. Not I.
Grant. Yeah.
I'm for it.
Yeah.
As the capitalist of the group.
Right. Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, I'm a capitalist, I'm a communist, and I realize I don't know what any of that actually means.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means to you. I don't know what it means to books. I don't know what that means at all.
Yeah, there's not like a agreed upon like definition, because there's so many different versions of it, like there's Chinese communism and then there's North Korean communism. It's like, which one is there? Like, can you have a little freedom? Can you have a lot?
Yeah.
Is it capitalist in the way that like France is capitalist, where like, if you do something, we're going to flip the fuck out, you know what I mean? And like spray manure at the prime minister's house, they're like, no, you're not putting restrictions on. Or is it American capitalist, where they're like, okay, fine.
France protests go the hardest. When I heard about they were trying to like extend their work day like an hour.
Right. Yeah.
And they were like 2 an hour.
Yeah.
They're trying to make
They're like, how about a little Molotov cocktail?
Yeah. They were like,
maybe we will light the whole place on fire.
They're just throwing croissants at
They're like, all right, 1.5 hour lunch break instead of 2. You're like, all right, well, the building burned down.
They're pouring hot coffee like acid on politicians.
Right. And respect. I mean, that's how you get a 65 age, retirement age, and like, you get to enjoy your life a little bit more, you know? And I feel like it's all in pursuit of like, in America, you could be a billionaire, that's like the carrot they did.
Dude, did you see the thing where it's like in New York City, 1 out of 24 people are a millionaire.
Dude, I fucking
they're not
believe
here.
it, man. Yeah,
They're not here,
They're
though.
all in Manhattan.
Yeah.
If you live in Manhattan, I'm legitimately like, you might be a millionaire.
Yeah, no, it's very like stealth wealth is like big now, like when you watch Succession, like, and they looked like just they were wearing normal clothes, but there was this account I followed. There was like, that t-shirt is $800. Those pants are $1,200. You know what I mean? So you can kind of see it if you walk around like Soho, Tribeca, you're like, damn, rich, you know?
That's funny that like the tide is changing to the point where like they have to dress like they have to be spy rich.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like all of a sudden, nobody's rich anymore, especially in the comedy scene.
Yeah.
That's what I like. It's
Interesting.
Everyone's poor all of a sudden in the comedy.
Yeah.
Even if you live in Williamsburg alone, everybody's poor and struggling.
How'd you do that? You're like,
interesting.
I'm living off savings. I love that. It's like, you saved up enough for a $1,700 one bedroom in Williamsburg?
Yeah, for 2 years.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
It's like,
You must be so fiscally responsible.
yeah. Oh man, no man. I mean, like, it's true. Like, I didn't grow up poor. I grew up like probably middle class. I would define it as, and I used to like talk about how my name was so like it denotes like being rich. Like my name is Davidson Boswell. It's like people have assumptions about you.
Yeah, you should own like a sugar cane factory.
Right. Yeah. Like
on the
we're involved
islands.
in the Dutch East India Trading Company. Don't talk about it. But yeah, that's and being from the South and shit like that. There's so many jokes you can make about it. And I first tried to lean into it, and that was not the move, you know? So when you get up there named Davidson Boswell, you kind of like dress it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, I'll wear a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like
as long as you're not being anything you're not.
Exactly.
Like, I actually appreciate whenever comedians who come from wealth are like, yeah, I grew up rich.
Yeah.
And now we can move forward. Yeah.
You guys know who Randall Otis is by any chance?
Yeah.
I used to, he's a writer for The Daily Show, and we used to run a show together. And, his family has this massive fucking place right on the park on Fifth Avenue, and he's just like, yeah, I grew up rich.
Yeah.
And it helps. He's black, you know what I mean? So like people are like, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Like, good for you, dude. You know what I mean?
People love to see.
They love to see. But his dad is like Darden Restaurants. He was the CEO of that, which owns like Red Lobster and like Olive Garden and shit. So that's Cheddar Bay biscuit money, dude. That's some fucking cool shit.
He can walk into any Olive Garden in America.
Right.
Dude, that's better than having like a black card.
Yeah, right.
Is you can walk into any town in the United States of America.
Right.
And your family.
And feed.
Dude, that's so true. I mean, like, it's like, of the ways to get rich, that seems like a pretty cool one.
Yeah. Olive Garden, dude, I used to love their breadsticks.
Yeah.
Just eat so many. I would be. There's certain restaurants where you're full before the food comes.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Olive Garden, any Mexican restaurant in Oklahoma, unlimited chips and queso.
Oh, dude, unlimited queso? Wow.
I
gotta go to Oklahoma.
Queso.
Yeah, that's wild.
And salsa, yeah.
Just bowls of melted blocks of cheese for free.
Hell yeah.
Maybe the economy isn't doing so poor.
Yeah. Oklahoma rules in that. The Mexican restaurants in Oklahoma are the best.
Is Oklahoma like, is there like a pretty diverse, because I think of like rich cattle ranchers and the rest are like kind of white folks, but is it pretty diverse, or is it
but there is a large Mexican population.
Gotcha.
And then there's like there's like an Asian population, but it's not enough to be like, yeah, this is diverse. But now like at least in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, there's like a lot of emphasis on like those businesses, because like it's just like it's growing the way the social consciousness is growing, where it's just like people want to go to Chinatown. Chinatown used to be something I'd never heard of in Oklahoma, and now it's like, okay, like they kind of like marketing it more, and like there's like new restaurants opening and stuff. So,
well, that's something to be excited about. You're asking me about like how I was like viewing the world and stuff, and it is really cool that like what is important to like Gen Z and millennials is like having diverse places to live in. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
that doesn't seem to be a value that boomers have in large.
I think they're seeing what gets lost,
right? Yeah,
when you don't have the diversity.
True.
Where it's like, oh, we don't get to have all this like cool, like
food,
truly authentic food, and like
it's really just the
celebrations. Yeah, but
I think that's really all people care about.
Right. It's like, I want samosas. Yeah.
I want samosas, and I want to be able to wear a kimono.
Right.
Is that too much to ask?
Yeah. Helps my legs breathe.
I think the other is celebrations.
My penis breathe.
Celebrations too, like
that's true
St.
too.
Patty's.
Yeah, it's just
Cinco de
fucking
Mayo.
fun. Like all the traditions and taking the good, and we just have to be able to talk about the bad too.
Right.
Like, but that's the fun part, is bringing it in and infusing it and seeing like what works together.
We got to admit that I like it's like, yeah, dude, we've done some bad stuff.
Yeah.
Pakistanis, we've done some bad ones.
Dude, whoever you border is gonna hate you in like an 18th century way. You know what I mean? It's like, why did you do that to us?
Yeah,
you know?
there's a reason there's a border.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just there. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a reason it's barbed wire.
Yeah.
And not memory foam.
Yeah, there's a reason there's two armies pointed at each other constantly.
Right. Yeah, and you compare that to like places where, shit is so arbitrary. Like you look at Africa and it's just a straight line. You're like, how'd that happen? It's like whatever. Yeah. And I feel like in Pakistan and Bangladesh, it's like mountain ranges that usually make up the borders, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, they just kind of give up trying to go over.
Right. They're like, all right, you guys are them.
And those mountain ranges, like if you live there, that's like where they make all the guns.
Oh, really? Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Like the Afghan-Pakistan border.
Yeah.
That's like, have you seen that Vice documentary? They go there and they just show people like literally like making guns up there.
Oh, they have a lot of like, I mean, as a gun guy, I would love to go there because they have so many guns floating around from like all the wars that have occurred there. So you have like historical guns that should be in museums being sold for like the equivalent of $5.
That's so sick.
In some shack.
Yeah. Some guy who knows how to rebuild it.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Kind of like Cubans with old cars,
Dude, if you did that, I bet you would have to have a really tough conversation with the border agent when you got back. You're like, what are you bringing back?
You're like, are you going to shoot JFK again? What's going on?
Yeah. Having like a German like light machine gun shoved up my ass for a 14-hour flight.
Right.
I'm flying business.
Yeah. Okay. Got a Luger in my butt, dude.
Yeah. I've got an MG42 sticking out of my ass.
Yeah.
I look like a stick bug.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of comedy back in Raleigh?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I have a lot of buddies back there, and it's such a cool scene. Like in the last like 12 years, I would say, has gotten a lot of tech money, and with that comes breweries, and with breweries comes bar shows. You know what I mean? So it used to be very like. Just at the top, there was like a club called Good Nights, and then like it was kind of crazy to have like other shows, like you were just doing like variety nights and stuff like that, which is not. I did a show like that yesterday. It went fine, but it's crazy when audiences are expecting music and they get comedy. They're like, "What the fuck is this?"
It's the worst feeling to go up,
right? Yeah. Situation. But yeah, I do go up a lot there, and as I said, it's like it's so much nicer, just in terms of like stage time and like the audiences there, and don't get me wrong, there's great New York audiences, but there's very few skeptical audiences in Raleigh. Like they're there to
have fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dude, nothing is better than a crowd that wants to have fun.
Right, exactly.
Because then all you got to do is feed them.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
You can put the plate down and they'll eat.
Right, exactly.
It's not like some audiences where you have to force feed them.
Right.
You have to get them to laugh.
Right.
Just don't shit on the plate.
Yeah.
That's all you have to not do.
Exactly.
Is just don't shit. Dude, I did a show like I haven't been booked in like a month, right?
Yeah.
And I finally got like 2 shows last night, and one of them was in the backyard of my friend's house. And it was just like, I'm so worried about it just because like you build it up in your head, like finally I have a show. I don't want to fuck up the one show that I have this month. And it's in the backyard. It's just all of his tech friends. And I'm just like, oh, this is going to suck. This is beautiful.
Oh, great.
So much fun because it's not a mic. That's, I think, what you get out of mics here.
Yes, yeah.
You don't learn about your material.
No.
You just learn how great shows are because they're not mics.
Yeah. It's all about what you compare it to. And then, you're just so thankful. Like I've been on like brought on the road a handful of times in my life. Like I'm by no means a road comic, but you go there and you're like, wow, these people like bought tickets, bought drinks, bought food. And you kind of, it's exciting because you also get to learn about like the politics of the place and like what they find funny versus New York. You know what I mean? New York is so cerebral, you know, like it's, it makes me sound again elitist, but you're like, they never want you punching down ever. You know what I mean? Like it's gotta be, so if you're like making fun of like, something that a woman said or something like that, you know what I mean? They're like, oh, you know, but, and then you kind of, it's the opposite because I did comedy for 2 months in Bangkok, Thailand.
Whoa.
And that was amazing. And that is like performing for the UN. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
It's all expats.
it's all expats. So what works is dirty shit, relationship material, and that's pretty much it. That's the universal.
Those are the universal.
Yeah, exactly. So if you can like do something that's cerebral or political because they're already on your side, you know what I mean? That makes you feel like fucking amazing. You know what I mean? But you think about every cultural reference you have, like it is only like the only athlete they're gonna know is Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? Or maybe LeBron James. You know, the only people they're gonna know are the current U.S. presidents. You know, you can't be talking about Nancy Pelosi or anything like that. But they all know about shitting your pants and
the master key to get you into the door to where you can talk about stuff you really care about is a dildo covered in poop.
Yeah.
That is
my
the
God.
door also.
Right. James Bond pulls one of those. He's like,
it opens.
The Matrix Revolutions. You know, when they're like making the shit. He's like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's funny.
You need, but once you like learn that, and then you can access different. I mean, that's the cool part. Is like, how do I trick these people into like wanting to hear what I want to really talk about?
Right, yeah. And crowd work helps too, you know.
And it's fun.
Yeah,
it hits all this shit, but crowd work is so much fun when you do it from like a point of like, we're having a good time together.
Yeah.
And you're not like, oh, your job is stupid.
Right.
Like, she's a nurse.
Right.
Your job is fucking stupid.
You're a nurse, you're
clown.
probably bad at it. It's like, go fuck yourself. This is my Friday night.
Right.
You know?
I bought this. This is a $9 beer. You know what I mean? Like, go.
I came here to see you.
And
now you're gonna shit on me? Like,
brutal.
So
but yeah, that was. I encourage you guys to do that. And,
how'd you get plugged into Thailand?
So that was wild. I just got a DM. So I used to make like way more like just like snarky, like sarcastic videos on the internet. And a guy in Thailand that I had met back in New York and had since moved there and opened a comedy club was like, yo, man, do you want to come out here and perform for 2 months? I'll fly you out, put you up. And that was fucking sick. So I was like, yes. And my girlfriend had just broken up with me. So I was like, this is like gonna make me believe in God. You know what I mean? I'm like,
sunglasses
the
come
timing.
down.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, prostitutes. No, but it was really cool, man. And from that central point, you can get to a lot of areas, and the comedy scene in Thailand is very fledgling. Like probably within the last 10 years, it was even introduced as a concept. You know what I mean? So it's easy to stand out, like we were talking about with smaller scenes, but even to a greater extent because the comedians there often speak English as their second language, you know? So, and then there are all these expat communities. They call them digital nomads. These are people that like, it's just global gentrification essentially, you know, but they just like gentrifiers, they don't want to talk to the local population. They just gather amongst themselves. It's like Bali or something, you know,
dude, all of Bali.
Yeah. That's pretty much Bali.
Very, I have a buddy who lives there. He runs an NGO in an island nearby.
That's awesome.
And, yeah, it's a great school, Sumba Hospitality Foundation. But when Ukraine happened, the Ukraine war kicked off.
Yeah,
Bali got flooded with Russians who left to keep their money so that Putin wouldn't take it and use it towards the war effort, and so that they wouldn't get drafted.
Damn.
So now Bali is just flooded with Russians.
That's fascinating.
It's just like one of those things where it's like a butterfly flaps its wings. Mm-hmm. And now, you know, there's a bunch of Russians in fucking Bali betting on cockfights. Like, it's just so crazy, like, especially with planes and globalization, how things can get spread out.
Yeah.
You know?
And so quickly and in mass.
Yeah.
Because that's like one where it's like a large migration of people.
Yeah.
And Bali it probably wasn't the biggest city.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's a very much like an island community. I went to a place called Kopangan, which is similar to Bali, and it was a lot of Israelis there because they got the fuck out after October 7th. And yeah, you're so right. Like war has like not only like consequences, it has consequences of consequences of consequences. You know what I mean? Like there's all these downstream effects. But that was another situation where like people are at the laughter buffet, man. They are literally living in paradise. You know what I mean? So they have improv communities there, but it's all people that work digital jobs. You know what I mean? So they have a lot in common, you know, and they are all coming to a place, and whether they know it or not, these are people who are like way, 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 way poorer than them. You know what I mean? And like giving them foot massages and like really cheap food and stuff like that. So I tried to like casually bring that up on stage, and they were like, no. We don't want to address that fundamental hypocrisy. Yeah. But it's right. Like when you did crowd work, when you did like light and airy stuff, like it was one of the best shows I ever did in my life. So if you guys ever have the opportunity to go, you can, and a lot of people do this, especially if you work remote, they just like go to Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand and perform. And that's the little triangle. Because it's cheap to travel. Asia. Yeah. Like if you go to Japan or South Korea, you might as well just do comedy in New York in terms of like how expensive everything is. You know?
Yeah. Tokyo would be a fun one though.
That would be sick.
And I've heard that it's all in English too, right? So
the whole comedy scene is in English. We're so lucky that's the language we were born speaking.
I know, dude. I have so many friends who are multilingual, and I'm jealous of them. But then at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but I do kind of have the one.
Yeah, exactly. That's what business is conducted in. That's what comedy is conducted in. Yeah.
I'm going to Italy at the end of the month, and I was going to try and see if there's because I've heard even in Italy and like Germany and stuff, there's like English speaking.
Dude, you totally should, man. I can put you in contact with somebody who has contacts in Italy. But
I'll take the Raleigh one for sure.
Yeah.
Doing a little bit of traveling this month.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have to run this radio show by yourself for a little while.
Yeah. I'm so intimidated by those boards. What button does what?
Have you ever seen those like music like Jay-Z, like, you know, behind the scenes? There's like 10,000 knobs. How do you know?
Fucking way those guys. It's two knobs that do anything.
Exactly.
It's like a remote control for like a sound system. You know, when like you have to go to a rich friend's house.
Yeah.
And they've got like it does like the shutters and everything.
Yeah.
They use the volume and the on button.
He's literally like volume up, bass up, and he's like, all right, sick.
I'm Pharrell.
I'm in the lab. Yeah.
It looks like a fucking airplane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do they know? Yeah.
I've always seen that. I've been like, there's no way you can make something using all of those.
Right. Yeah.
You choose like 4.
Right.
That's your thing. That's what makes you Pharrell, and then Timbaland uses the other 6.
Right, and then Kanye uses 20. Yeah, and that's the extent.
Yeah, it's too much.
One thing I wanted to ask you is, you do a lot of videos where you're like criticizing like architecture, like buildings in New York. Yeah. Do you have like a background in architecture? Is this something you're interested in, or is that from tour guiding?
It's from tour guiding, and I think it represents like the changing taste in culture, right? It's like the physical embodiment of what people care about. You know what I mean? So some of the buildings that I think are really fascinating are, you know, the most famous ones, the Empire State Building, the Chrysler Building. All of those were completed during the Great Depression. And my thing is that, like, if it's a time of great wealth inequality and you're going to build a big, beautiful building where rich people are going to work and live, you need to make it beautiful to look at. You know what I mean? Because otherwise it is just vulgar, you know, to be like, because all these new buildings going up to this south of, and they're just big cinder. Like,
have you seen the one that's blocking the view of the Empire State Building?
Yeah, what the fuck?
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, and it's like you're basically just making the neighborhood uglier so that maybe a few rich people will live there sometimes. Yeah, because it's mainly just financial products that real estate is at this point. They're like, all right, like we were talking about Russians parking their money. You know what I mean? That's essentially what they are. It's just like, a way to put your money somewhere.
It's horrible what they did with that building on Fifth Ave.
Have you seen what we're talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
As you're looking,
that's being built right now.
Yeah, as you're looking
I saw
from,
it yesterday. Yeah,
as you're looking from the Flatiron district, it just blocks the Empire State Building now. It's like, so bad. That used to be such a great panorama because you could see like all these, and now it's just like, and
it looks like an apartment building.
Yep,
from what I
think
can
it
tell.
is. Yeah,
and it's like, dude, stop building. I mean, it's good you build more housing, but think about the way it affects the aesthetics of the city.
Yeah.
What's your favorite building?
The Woolworth Building. That's the one in the financial district. It invented the skyscraper. It's hand-carved Indiana limestone, 70 stories into the sky.
Whoa.
I thought the Flatiron Building invented the skyscraper.
That one came about... but it wasn't, well, yes, it was the tallest building in New York but it is like 1/3 the height of the Woolworth building. So it kind of like, yes, it was really tall, but it doesn't exist in the clouds like the Woolworth building does. So that's when they started talking about it as a skyscraper, because it was literally poking, but it's open to interpretation. But that that building was the tallest building in the world for 18 years until 40 Wall Street came around. You guys should go into the lobby. The lobby is made out of gold and marble. And then in 2013, they converted the top 20 floors to private residences. And if you guys ever watch Succession, one of the kids has their apartments in there. You know what I mean? Really? It's like, there's a Succession tour that I want to start giving, you know?
Where you created it? You want to create it?
But my company's offering it and I want to start doing it. But I think you would make people like Marxists if you just walk around and being like, look at that one. That's $80 million.
It's lived in 1 week a year.
Right. Do you think the revolution is coming?
I think my friends...
You can access it via these vents. I have the blueprints here.
Right.
Yeah, I think my friend's podiatry office is in one of those buildings.
Yeah, dude. The Woolworth building has like some really old school like law firms and shit like that in it. It's like some OG New York's, you know what I mean?
Inside it is so gaudy.
Yeah.
It is like gold, everything. There's like
I need to check
domes, art everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. All those old buildings were like, okay, here's the contract. We're rich, but this is beautiful. Yeah. You know?
Dude, FiDi is cool.
Yeah, FiDi is the oldest one.
It gets ragged on because it doesn't have a nightlife and everything shuts down at 10 p.m.
Yep.
Yeah.
But as far as like history goes, like there's this bar, I'm sure you know, in FiDi that's like it's like one of the oldest buildings in New York. It used to be a hotel and they made it a bar. It's called
White Horse Tavern, I think.
Not White Horse Tavern is another one, but it's like Lexington Hall or something.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
I forget what it's called. It has a museum there too, but it's like apparently like George Washington stayed there when it was a hotel.
Whoa.
And now and you can just feel from the layout, it's like old wood, and like the layout is kind of like, it doesn't really make sense, you know. It's like very roomy,
just put together.
Yeah. And so it's just like you can feel how old it is when you're in FiDi.
Places like that have like, I mean, I hate to be like fucking Stardust Girl, but like places like that have auras.
Yeah,
you know,
totally.
I don't even know if it's my preconceived notions of them, but like you do walk into certain places like that and you go, ooh, there's like pheromones of this thing that seeps into
business deals went down here that like affected the nation. You know what I mean? Like there's some real
the nation of Nicaragua.
Yeah, right. We're going to overthrow their government.
What do you think of the Hearst building?
Yeah. Which one is that?
That's the building that they took like the base. And,
they rotated it. Yeah.
Well, no, I don't know if they rotated it. I don't know anything about it. I just love it because it's like an old building, like old, limestone or whatever. Yeah. And then they built a modern building on top of it.
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
It's like where Oprah Winfrey has her offices in there. And then it's like tetrahedral. I don't know
that one. It's really close to the park, like 8th Avenue.
57th.
I love that building.
I think that building
I think that one is similar to that egg building that's in London. You know what I mean? Okay. It's kind of if you're gonna do a glass skyscraper, fuck around with the symmetry. You know what I mean? That's because I really like that one, and then I like the Jenga building. 56 Leonard Street.
That guy killed himself on?
Did you hear about this? So the guy, he's a Bed Bath & Beyond CEO, and he was basically in collusion with a GameStop. Or no, he was the CFO, and he was in collusion with GameStop, and they were basically just buying all these shares on the down low, to like raise the share price, and then they were going to dump it because he's the CFO. He knows that the financials are shit for Bed Bath & Beyond. And he got caught. So he was living in the Jenga building on the 18th floor, had his cup of coffee. His wife and children were, just playing. And then he jumped off.
Jumped off?
Yeah, and there was apparently a class that was having
Is that how bad being poor is in America now?
Yeah, I guess so. He's like, I'm not going out like this.
You just be poor.
He would have gone to white collar prison. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it wouldn't have. I mean, it would have been the end
get out in 6 years, 10 years.
Yeah, probably less than that. But he
way better at tennis than when he came in.
Right. Yeah, dude. Somebody made a really compelling point on my Instagram when I made a video about that, about how like white collar prison is probably better living situation than a lot of like the projects in America. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you're probably fine. But yeah, he hit the pavement and. Yeah, dude. I used to include that in my tour, and then it never ever got a good reaction. So I was like, actually, this building is pretty. Dude, you know what I mean? Yeah,
this is a pretty building.
Sorry, I meant to bring this up whenever we started this conversation, but have you seen The Portal?
Oh, dude, the one that goes to Dublin?
It goes to Dublin?
Yeah.
Did you see what somebody did?
Didn't they hold a phone up to it or something? And like, what was on it?
9/11 was on it.
What?
It's a portal where people in New York can see into people in Dublin.
Yeah,
constantly.
it's like a live stream screen that you
Yeah.
can like.
Okay.
Yeah. And it just, I didn't know the 9/11 part. That's
took his
funny.
phone up to it, and the first thing was I forgot what he like wrote one of those banners. I
Yeah.
forgot what it was. The next thing is he just showed the Twin Towers.
And that's for Ireland. That's the first time they're hearing.
Right,
it.
right. Yeah. They
No,
don't have
the guy in
electricity over
Ireland
there.
did it to America.
Oh, really?
The guy in Ireland was showing the Americans 9/11.
Well, he doesn't want us to forget.
Right. He's like, hey, we said we would never forget. That's fucking hilarious, man. That's what the Banshees of Inisherin was kind of about. Is about like modernity coming to an island and stuff like that. And I think the final phase of modernity is showing a YouTube video of 9/11 to New Yorkers.
Yeah.
It's like
Never forget. Is
Right,
that-
right.
You asked for this.
Yeah, that's
You
funny.
asked for this.
I can't believe because there's all this like trust in society that's always broken. Like you remember that honeycomb structure that was in Hudson Yards?
Yeah.
Oh,
People
yeah.
kept throwing themselves off, and so they're like, okay, we'll stop. We'll stop this. So people were jumping off that. So they were like, okay, the new rule is you have to go in twos if you're going to do it, and then. 2 people started jumping off at the same time.
They
So
made a
were
little
like-
community
yeah,
of people who are
like,
going to kill
it's like, yo, bro, what are you doing later? Yeah,
I did not know the two things.
yeah. And the guy who made that,
Why that building? Why that
I think it's
structure?
because it's so easy. Like it was unguarded, right? So it used to be like there's this really cool music video called "Enjoy the Silence" it's by Depeche Mode, and they
Okay.
filmed it on top of the World Trade Center buildings, right? So they were just playing guitar, and a helicopter is going around and filming them like playing guitar.
Mm-hmm.
The railing is like as high as your hip. You know what I mean? So if you wanted to,
that.
you could just jump, you know?
Yeah.
They do not have that in any building now. Like everything
Yeah.
is blocked off except
Yeah.
for that honeycomb thing. So I think people were like, finally, I can jump off a building.
Yeah, and not inconvenience people trying to get to work via the train.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so these are considerate suicidal people.
Yeah.
I
I say keep the fucking railing
I
down.
know, dude.
Just mark off a little area for people to fall.
Yeah, put a little diving board.
The splash zone, dude.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is but that's like an example of like hubris. But it just reminds me of the portal. You know what I mean? Like whatever most fucked up thing you can do with the new thing is what people are gonna do.
That's such a good point.
Yeah, I mean, do you remember that hitchhiking robot?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and like the second it got to Philly, it just got like butt fucked.
Yeah. It went all around Europe at first,
Yeah.
and it was like a beautiful testament to humanity. It goes to Philly for 5 minutes and
All
just
right, let's put Trank in its hole. Let's put Trank in its aux hole.
Yeah, it's like how does this robot have necrotitis? Yeah,
Necrotizing fasciitis.
yeah, necrotizing fasciitis. Yeah,
The robot put out a drill rap song.
right. Yeah.
How did that happen?
It live streamed itself shooting another robot.
Yeah, dude. That's another thing about the country, which is so crazy. I mean, it's like sometimes it's like in the small piece to piece of your life, there's really beautiful things, like a woman being helped, like her carriage down the train, or just talking to a random stranger, and everything seems fine.
Yeah.
And then it's like you watch one documentary about Philadelphia, and you're like, we're in the end times.
Right. Yeah, you see Kensington, you're like, oh my God, this is
It's
like
over.
a Cormac McCarthy book. You
Yeah,
know? It's like
this is
crazy.
the road.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So and that Trank shit is so crazy, man. I don't know. Like, have you heard about this at all?
No,
You heard
what
about
is-
where
what
it's
is
coming from?
It's like vets, right? Like,
A lot of it is coming from Wuhan, China.
oh really? Oh wow.
Yeah.
There's
Can't trust those guys.
round 2, dude. Yeah.
We won't get into right now.
Yeah.
But
We don't have enough time.
No, we're winding down. Yeah, man. What if I spent the last 17 minutes being a COVID truther?
I'm-
we were going so well. Yeah.
brother, don't get me started.
Yeah.
I'll give you a signed copy
Right.
of the real
So-
Anthony Fauci right now.
That's so
What
funny.
is Trank? It's like a drug, right? It's
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
animal horse tranquilizer, I think. But
okay. So isn't that what ketamine is, though?
No,
It might
shut
be-
up, shut up.
yeah, no.
There's nothing wrong with ketamine. It's totally cool.
I think it's intravenous use.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I guess you could do with ketamine too. But
So
this
it's more
is,
heroin-y than
yeah,
ketamine.
yeah. And I think it's like even better than fentanyl, which is crazy. Like in terms of
I like how they say even better, but it's like fentanyl like kills you 98% of the time.
right. There's like a 100% kill rate with fentanyl, but this one like gives you diseases where your like arms start to rot off and stuff. It's like
Oh my, like
super
an apple
brutal.
or something.
If
Right.
you like
yeah.
overshoot a vein and hit muscle, the whole thing just dies.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. And you can't repair because it kills all the veins that it is like injected into.
How good is that high?
I mean, yeah, that's what you have to wonder, because it's like if it's worth risking that, it must be. And people were like coming from different cities because that's where the trank was. You know what I mean? And
it was, well, you could do it openly. It was so easily accessible.
Right. Yeah.
How that kid? I think we're all dancing around the Channel 5 news.
Totally. Yeah.
How that guy gets interviews with these people?
I know.
It blows my mind.
Yeah, he must be just unbelievably approachable. I would love to see what they tell them before they start filming. You know,
I don't think he's like that overly. I mean, he could be very charismatic, but I think it's just a camera, man.
Right?
Like,
yeah.
If you have a camera, like think about what people say to some asshole with a phone and a fucking like iPhone corded microphone.
Right, that's true.
Yeah,
right?
no, but those guys, if certain people came, they would laugh those guys out of the fucking room and probably beat the shit out of them. Like I do think he's there's something about him being very unassuming that makes him approachable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think there's also something where he's like never trying to like smart ass the person.
You know what it is? It's his eyebrows don't move.
He's got Botox.
Yeah, like because anytime he goes, "What do you mean by that?" His eyebrows don't move. If I ask, "What do you mean by that?"
Yeah. Oh, true.
Very different shift.
Yeah.
because he's
Not
like,
judgmental.
He's on like a perma trip because he took a bunch of mushrooms when he was like 6 months old. I watched some interview with him.
Yeah.
Not 6 months, but when he's really he had like a breakdown on mushrooms, and he had this like it's like a actual neuronal disorder where you're constantly tripping.
Whoa.
Like you kind of can't get out of it.
Wow.
That sounds terrifying, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, be careful out there.
Yeah.
But so he doesn't. He's not very expressionful. Whatever the fucking word
Expressive.
is. Expressive.
Yeah.
How am I in a job where the whole business is words and I know 4?
I know good word.
Yeah. Seriously.
No, and what's crazy is he pushes the limit of like, am I an accessory to this crime? Right?
Yeah,
like
he's
he'll get
conscientious
into
of
a
it.
car that has been boosted. You know what I mean? Like the Connecticut
children.
boys. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is blurring the line here. You know?
Yeah.
Which is what makes it fun.
Oh no, and it's like some of the best TV out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Dude, when he was with the the San Francisco people,
that was wild too.
and they were just so casually breaking into cars.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is weird. It's the only time I've ever like really come down on the side of, okay, this is actually probably too liberal of a law if you like can rob 11 cars and get out that night every time. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, there has to be some consequence for this behavior, you know?
I mean, the no chase thing, because in Milwaukee, that's also where they had a lot of Kia boys.
Yeah.
And, dude, you owned a car, the carburetor was gone the next day that you bought it. And they had these no chase laws. Mm-hmm. And it's like, are we putting more people at risk by chasing, by having high-speed chases?
Right.
Or is it like, if this keeps happening, insurance is $8 million? Like, that's the interesting thing about like the ripple effects of like public policy is where do you see where the balance and the drop-off occur? Mm-hmm. And it's almost like you need to do the experiment, but then be willing to say the experiment failed.
That's
and
so
I don't
true.
think anybody is willing to say their experiment failed.
Yeah, because we have elections and primaries and stuff. And
Exactly.
Like, in San Francisco, you'll get primaried from the left, and in I don't know, Texas, you'll get primaried from the right. So in Texas, it's like we should kill them if they do. Right. So yeah, man, I don't know what state does it best, honestly, because it seems like there's the opposite problem is happening in every. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's home invasion deaths of somebody like. This is weird to bring up, but my cousin lived in Alabama, and he accidentally tried to go into the wrong apartment, and the guy just shot him through the window and killed him. You know,
my
God. Isn't that fucked up?
In an apartment building?
Yeah, in an apartment. So he had one too many. He was one floor above where he, you know, so he couldn't. He always kept his window unlocked because he would lock himself out a lot. So he was just doing what he did, but to the wrong apartment, and a guy just shot him right through the window. And it's like, and that guy is free. You know what I mean? And that's like, and I get it. If somebody was coming in through my window, but I would be like, hey, can I help you? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing?
Talk
you know
to
what I mean?
him
Yeah.
first.
Like, don't just fucking shoot. You know what I mean?
A shoot first thing is crazy.
Right. And that's like, or no knock warrants and shit like that. So that's Alabama. You know what I mean? And then you have this San Francisco, Andrew Callahan, where that guy is like hiding his face and then stops hiding his face like halfway through because it's like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like
there's no repercussion.
Yeah, right. And they ask him like, he said he'd been to jail 11 times that month. You know, it's like, so you're just basically sitting in jail for an hour and then leaving. You know?
Yeah, it's a waiting
there
room.
has to be someone making money off of that though. Like who's the person who's making money off of all these people who
true.
just openly rob stores?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Or like, is there like I have no idea.
Like, there's got to be some guy.
Or else, why would it be allowed?
Why would it be allowed?
Well, it is going to have, I mean, you know, it's debatable whether the stores are closing just because the model is shifting to online or if, you know, crime is actually at a rate where they need to close down like Macy's and shit like that. Yeah. Like, I'm kind of skeptical that I'm pretty sure they were going to close them anyway.
Really?
You know? Yeah.
Even if you've been to a CVS and you need to ring a doorbell to get deodorant.
That's so fucking annoying. That's fun. Yeah. That's everywhere now.
Help needed in the boner pill department. No, wrong button.
No, wrong button.
I was going for the condoms. The Magnum condom department.
Where's the I have a huge dick and can go all night button?
It's in the back.
Yeah.
It's in the beyond
section.
Back,
I'll be hitting the
those
back
pills
wall.
aren't actually covered up. Nobody buys those.
Right. Yeah.
Dude. I was at a CVS the other day, and it took the guy like he took his sweet ass time to come.
Dude, yeah.
And we needed one thing,
right?
And it took like 8 minutes for him to come.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was sitting there with my fiance, and I was like, of course he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He's not getting paid more when I buy this.
No, not at all.
You know who should come unlock this is the CEO of the company.
Right.
Undercover
the
guy
boss
that has to come unlock it.
The only person who's actually affected by the stealing of the thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Or like a stockholder should be in the store.
That's funny. Is if you're going to own stock in a company, you have to do a little time at the company.
Dude, I bet company valuation. I bet Boeing would stop falling out of the fucking sky if people.
That'd be so great.
Yeah,
my god, dude! If I was on those FAA teams inspecting those things, oh my god, it's already the most safest way to travel. There'd be no accidents. I'm so terrified of flying.
I know. Yeah,
and then you just have fucking whistleblowers getting like exploding.
Yes, dude, it is wild. Like. The mafia calls it like wet work, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, yo, we'll fucking kill you. But that'd be really funny to do it for like CVS, you know what I mean? Like $24 worth of like protein bars and shot over. You know, it's an indictment of how shitty your product is if it's not locked up at a CVS.
Yeah,
like wow, really no one cares about that. You know?
Yeah, no one cares about your Arm & Hammer toothpaste.
Right.
You got Crest locked up.
Yeah.
All the tampons are locked up. All the pads are open to go.
Yeah. The free bleeders are freaks, dude.
Yeah. No respect.
Yeah, if you're not woman enough to use a tampon, you're not woman enough to steal from this place, anyways.
Are you so say you go to. Because it's creeping into the more affluent places too. Like my dad lives in Raleigh, so shit is locked up in Raleigh. In Cary, where my mom lives, it's more affluent, so shit's not locked up. But I'm starting to see it come because I think people are willing to travel 15 minutes to do some crime now. You know, they'll like go with a duffel bag and
steal a Kia, and you got a fucking
a
nice day.
Yeah, like my buddy lives in Charlotte, and he went on vacation and somebody robbed his back porch. Not his house, just like took the TV from his back porch. And I guess they'd been doing it all in his neighborhood because he lives in a nice neighborhood.
Right.
So they just go from house to house, back porch to back porch, and just steal whatever the fuck is there.
In Cary, there's a huge Indian population, and the word got out that Indians tend to keep valuables in their house, like gold and stuff like that. So there was just a string of robberies, with like of Indian households.
Dude, you can't even go unbanked anymore.
I know. Yeah. You gotta. Yeah, it's an argument for crypto. You know, like keep your shit in Ethereum, I guess.
Yeah.
No one can steal. Well, I mean, they could steal your phone. Yes. I would just hate to be that asshole who like lost like a hard drive with $1 billion worth of crypto.
Oh,
on
true,
it.
dude.
Dude. Or how often I forget my password.
Oh my god,
it would suck to miss out on a fucking like
a spike or something.
Yeah, like $1 million because I couldn't remember if I used a 1 or an I.
Right.
That would ruin my brain.
Yeah, no, I think you would go insane. You'd be like, you'd be that guy like from the Itchy and Scratchy episode where like he claims to have invented the cartoon, and they're like, all right, you're homeless. You know what I mean? No one gives a fuck.
Yeah, that would stink.
Yeah,
that's another realm where it's like it's just like the ability for people to make another option now is so crazy.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I think it's gonna leak into like communities. Like I think cults and like other communities that people make on their own is gonna be a trend going up.
Oh, totally, man. Because if you can't get any meaning out of society, you know what I mean? You'll make another one.
Yeah.
You know? Like if they're like, yo, these are your options. You can be a security guard at a bank or be unemployed, basically. They're like, fuck you, I'm gonna go live on a commune, you know?
Exactly.
Like, and honestly, some days, like some of the shittiest days in New York where you like miss your train and like you're late and like you have to spend like $50 on an Uber. You're like, dude, I want to go live in fucking Portland, Oregon. You know, like off the grid. You know?
Yeah. I got yelled at in a parking garage the other day for not knowing how the parking garage worked.
Oh,
and I was
that's
like,
customer service, dude. Yeah.
He was like, just park your car. I was like, where? He's like, right there.
Oh,
I was like, oh, you park my car. You could have just said that.
Right. Yeah.
You don't need to fucking be a dickhead about it. And I was just like, I'm going to burn down New York City.
I hate, dude. And that's the other thing about like going to Dwayne Reed and CVS is the customer service. It's like, I'm sorry that I'm buying this right now. Like, not my bad.
And that's why the stockholders should be working there.
Right, exactly.
Because they would be happy.
Yeah, they would be like,
nobody working at McDonald's wants you to be there.
No, fuck
the only
no,
person that wants you to be there is stockholders and Ronald McDonald himself.
Right. Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure, I don't know what that form of government, but you should just, I think that's small business. I think is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, or just like, some sort of like greater responsibility, you know, in society.
Conscription.
Basically.
If you work there, you should have some skin in the game.
Totally, man.
Yeah, if you want to live in New York, you have to work for the MTA for a year.
Dude, my God.
How much would that improve the city?
Holy shit, that's genius, man. You waited to drop that till we were an hour and 55 minutes in.
I like to give the last word. It's kind of my power move.
Yeah, that's so funny.
I think about that a lot.
It would make you more empathetic, too, for delays as well.
You know, delays, you see someone fucking littering, you go, hey, asshole.
Right.
Your kid's going to have to pick that up next year when they graduate high school.
Dude, that's perfect to do it right after they get out of high school. Teach them a little bit about responsibility. I sound like a fucking old man right now.
No, but I mean, I do believe in like social work conscription.
Yeah, dude.
I don't think you should draft everybody in the military like the fucking IDF, but like I do think that like you could replace the need for a common enemy or a social myth with just a connective tissue of like people who realize we're in it together.
Yes, man. And that would get you offline too. You know, you'd be like,
get him off the phone.
Yeah.
Dude, that year should be no phone.
Yeah, no phones.
That entire year, you don't get
It's only the cops that are on the phone in the subway now, you know? Weirdly.
Dude, that is the most frustrating thing to see ever. Just bro. Well, I guess I don't know.
I like it when there's 15 of them standing around. It's like, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, what is the crisis?
They're all just like playing, I don't know, like Snake together.
Yeah. My friend is a public defender, and so like body cam, you know, is also recording all the time. And he does say that they like brag about their scores to each other. You know what I mean? Ridiculous. And I get it. It's probably a boring job most of the time.
So much. Yeah. We do need to wrap up. We like to leave a little bit of time for you to plug anything that you want to.
So yeah, check out my Instagram and TikTok, Davidson Boswell. And then most importantly, I have a Patreon and a YouTube, and they're both called the Davidson Boswell Show. And it's growing. And I'm hoping to continue. And when it gets big enough, I'll have you guys on for sure.
Please. Do you still do the thing with Taos?
Yeah.
Sending money?
Yes. And there is an organization called the Taos Alliance for Free Palestine. It's not charity, it's mutual aid. And there's an invasion happening in Rafah right now. And what we do is we help distribute the aid, because the aid is really unevenly distributed in Rafah and Gaza in general. It just comes in through ports, and this is how fucked up things are. People then resell them, right? So we're giving money to people to buy the aid that's coming and getting brought into. And it's crazy. You get videos from Palestinian children thanking you, you know, and stuff like that. It's not like they're going through a lot. So I don't need those thank yous, but it is powerful. Yeah. And so if you want to donate, you can Venmo me at Davidson Boswell, and I promise it all goes straight to Palestine.
Yeah.
Wow,
Grant,
just in time.
Yeah. You want to plug anything after that?
Ludwig von Poop on Twitter. And Pogavore on Instagram.
Awesome.
Yeah. At HUMZ.AH on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you for tuning in. We will talk to you all next time. Bye, everyone.
See ya.